doomed. On the track we are consumed. Adrenaline rush, heartbeats race, the thrill of speed taking place. Defend the lead, it's not a chase. Gran Turismo sets the pace. Under moonlit skies we soar. Every pass makes spirits roar. Defending honor never bored.
Welcome to the Nighthawk Racing F1 RST Championship. Firstly, I'm Sarah Hawkey, and you can find myself and the rest of our community here on the Nighthawk Racing YouTube channel. There are various features and playlists for you to watch and enjoy, covering non-championship events, mini-series racing, and our main series of F1 RST with seasons 1 through to 4 with full coverage and commentary available to watch. All races also feature great competitive action alongside community and team racing, leaving many smiles as well as thrills and spills. Please also check out our Instagram and TikTok in the description below, or you can use the QR code across the video that will provide you with the link tree, more content and information for you to have a scan through as well. Before we get into the racing itself, here is an outline of the racing and the championship and what to expect in Season 5. So as you can see on screen at the moment, we have a 10 event calendar featuring red and blue lobby racing, and you can see that we go to many different tracks across the season, all tracks presenting themselves with unique characteristics, so it should be a pretty fun season ahead, and I can't wait to see how all the drivers get on. We're talking about the events itself. There are 2 races per event, with a sprint race which will last approximately 20 minutes and then a feature race at 1 hour to 65 minutes respectively. The grid for the sprint race is ordered in reverse average points scored across the season. Up next is the main feature race, which is supported by a 10-minute qualifying session. Qualifying itself is highly important, as not only does it set the outright grid for the feature race, but competitors have to begin their strategic calls in qualifying, as when the driver sets their fastest lap, the compound of tyre they use for that fastest lap then becomes their mandatory tyre compound for the start of the feature race. So as you can see, strategy is important, especially during qualifying. But here in F1 RST, every session is important and also comes with its own rewards. Both racing events come with increasing points for each position gained, as well as the potential of fastest lap points to be earned for those finishing within the top 10. Qualifying itself also rewards the top 3 positions with a little extra dynamic thought and strategy throughout the event and season. So as you can tell, points make prizes. As a reminder for all, sprint races have completely open strategy calls and tyre choices with a rolling start. But the feature race, on top of the qualifying start tyre compound requirement, has a grid start, and all drivers must use 2 different choices of tyre compounds. So tonight we are racing around Yamigiwa Reverse, and it's a pretty difficult track, and it's a track that we don't drive very often, so I'm excited to see how the drivers get on tonight. But let's get into some track facts. So the track itself is just over 3 miles long. Specifically, it's 3.05 miles long, and it has a total of 15 corners. And like I say, some of those corners are pretty difficult. But Yamigiwa is a fictional circuit that first appeared in GT Sport, a game we all know and love. And it's a 4.9km circuit set out in a driving park in Kyoto, Japan. The track is notable for its numerous turns of varying radii. The radius for each turn is marked at the corner entry on the track itself, and I didn't know that, so I'll definitely be looking out as we drive around the track to see if I can spot that. But the circuit itself is mostly a high-speed circuit, but does contain moments of complexity such as the S-bends, and it's also known for its challenging flowing layout. And obviously around the track it's key to maximise the speed through the crucial sections, but about using those curbs effectively and not overdoing it. But I'm excited to see how the drivers get on, and let's see what challenges Yamigiwa has in store for us tonight.
So, after High Speed Ring Round 4, Katie Nakai still sits atop of the championship. But in 3rd and 4th place respectively, Mercedes and Fodder separated by only 3 points, fighting over that top 3 position. After a pair of podiums and all wins themselves, Sophia and Big Crazy Bertie from the blue lobby are now sitting in the top 10. They're going to be both very happy with themselves after that pair of results. In the middle of the pack we have drivers just outside the top 10 such as Iceman and Sicily, separated by 1 point, and only 20 points between them, 16th and Sarah. So Iceman, Sicily, Kirk, McManley, Coach and Sarah all vying for the possibility of getting into the top 10. In the rest of the championship, it's still as fierce as anything. All drivers fighting over positions, and what can we say? All drivers here completely capable of picking up a good result and jumping straight up the order. Let's see what this latest race at Yamigiwa can bring them. And here we are for the blue race, round 5, Yamigiwa reverse here at Kyoto. So, leading the pack away in that Viper will be Sturdy Motorsport. It's going to be a tricky track for that Viper, but if anyone can pull it off, I have faith. So, in P2, we then have our very own Super Simon in that M6. Swiftly followed up by Welshmouth in that Ford GT. Then in that Supra, we have Murphy. In 5th place we have Damo in that 911. Then in 6th we have Dejan Cypher in his Lamborghini Huracan. Then in P7 we have one of our very own admin, Ziggy in the 4C, or the C4 as he calls him, because it likes to explode on him.
Great name for that car. But in P8 we have Lyle in the Ferrari 458. In P9 we then have the Chaos Druid in that Lexus RCF. In P10 we then have T50 Gary in the GTR. And the other half of T50 we then have T50 Phil in P11 in the Ferrari 458. So the two T50 guys starting side by side, that's cute. In P12 we then have Joe Nesbitt in the Ford GT, looking for a quick getaway in that American muscle car. But in P13 we have the head of Fasutu Racing in Coach in that Supra, and rounding off the grid we have Sparky in the Mclaren 650S in P14.
Yeah, you really can't separate those T50 lads, can you?
Nah, inseparable some may say.
Exactly that. But Yamigiwa, it's going to provide such a unique challenge for these drivers. You've got those really long banked right hand corners, and it's going to be a race where we might even see some pit stops in the sprint race. So strategy is really going to be becoming key, especially in the feature, but even in the sprint race here today. With that in mind, Sarah, who do you think is going to be aiming towards a really good result? My personal thinking would be drivers and cars with smooth styles, particularly someone like Ziggy in that 4C that is known for good tyre wear. But anything can happen. Who have you got your eye on?
Yeah, I think Ziggy's a great shout around here. Obviously, a track that you either love or you hate. Having a car which, obviously, underneath you has some good tyre wear, but also some, good stability might help. So obviously, I wouldn't write off Ziggy. But I think the T50 guys could do pretty well around here, especially the likes of Coach and Sparky as well. Obviously, around a track like this in the sprint race, I'm sure a lot of drivers are kind of going to use it as a bit of data gathering, a bit of maybe last minute kind of practice, because this track is a bit of a difficult one.
Quite agree, and I think you're right. Watch out for the T50 guys, particularly I think Phil in this one, because he has shown, particularly at other tracks, and including in the endurance series, he can really pull out some good results. And Coach has seen a rich run of form in a few races recently, so I think you're absolutely spot on there. But with that in mind, Sarah, I think it's commentary time. Let's get into the race. And here we go for the Blue Lobby Season 5, Round 5 here at Yamigiwa Reverse. Sturdy Motorsport will be leading the pack away in that Viper on soft tyres. Super Simon in second on the mediums, And Welsh Smurf in that new livery, but on intermediate tyres. He has selected the wrong tyre for this. This might be catastrophic for his race. And unfortunately, he's got into turn 1. There is no grip. There is contact with Simon. And it's sort of filtering backwards a little bit as he's ended up in the wall. And sideways by the exit of turn 1. That has not worked out well for the Smurf. And unfortunately, that is a retirement for him there. But that has benefited Sturdy Motorsport, who's gotten away beautifully out of turn 2 and 3 and into turn 4. He's going to be happy seeing a little bit of a gap to Murph. And then Degen Cypher and then Damo in P4. Lyle in P5. Ziggy in P6 with T50 Phil just close behind. That's unfortunate for the Smurf there, Sarah, don't you think?
Yeah, very unfortunate indeed. We had Joe Nisbet as well having a little bit of an unfortunate time coming out of that hairpin there, which drops him to the back of the grid. But yeah, going back to Smurf, unfortunately being on the wrong tyres, no grip, and obviously Simon had to pay the price for that a little bit. But it's good to see Simon still going. Talking about that, when the Smurf came across the grid, he nearly took out Murph and Cypher there as well. So those two were lucky to get around without any damage. But having a look, everyone else seemed to have gotten away cleanly. Obviously, first lap around this track, it's a very difficult track, especially for some of these cars and drivers. But it's good to see all the drivers carrying on. And Sturdy still in the lead for now in that Dodge Viper.
Yeah, he's going to be very happy out front as well. But those tyres, this track, they're not going to last. So I'm pretty certain we are going to see some pit stops. And that is T50 Phil around in the final corner. Sarah, did he have a moment by himself or was there contact?
No, unfortunately there was contact with the other Ferrari of Lyle there. The two coming together midway through the corner and just unsettled the T50 Phil's Ferrari, and unfortunately a little bit of contact between him and the barrier there, but he's kept on going. But looking a little bit further up, we have Druid potentially looking for a move on Damo here. Damo's on the inside line, Druid's on the outside line. Very difficult corner to overtake, but Druid gets it done and dusted, and Coach looks like he's trying to follow the route that Druid has taken. The 911 still on the inside here. Coach having to hang it round on the outside just for a little bit longer. But it looks like Coach, right on the edge of that curve, manages to get past Damo here.
Yeah, and then Coach also impressively on the hard tyres, same as Druid. I can only imagine Damo had a bit of an issue into or out of turn 1, and the reduction speed has led him to be swallowed up by a couple of cars. Lyle up to P4, getting past Murph on that hard tyre, but I'm going to finish the point I started before the incident at the end of the last lap, as we do see Degen Cypher catching up with Sturdy. This race is very, very high in tyre wear. We are possibly, well, we're almost definitely going to see a pit stop from anyone on the soft tyre, maybe even medium tyres. And it's going to be something that we're going to have to keep an eye on, as we do see Sturdy in P1 still. He's going to be happy he's there. Degen Cypher into P2. And out of nowhere, Ziggy in that 4C up to P3, challenging for P2 on that inside of the long final corner, up to P2 as he comes out of it, and challenging for the lead, Sarah. Where has Ziggy come from?
He's the silent assassin. He's kept quiet up until this point, and he's making the moves stick when he needs to. And he looks like he's about to set himself up for a move on Sturdy. Sturdy getting a slightly better exit there, which is giving him a little bit of space. But what have you caught there?
Murph more sideways than he was forwards out the first corner.
I mean, we're close enough to Tokyo for some Tokyo drifting, I guess. But Simon having a little bit of a moment coming out of that corner there. Unfortunately, has spun himself round just in front of a marshal post, thankfully, who brings out the yellow flag. Simon's getting himself facing the right way again.
He didn't want to do the reverse layout.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him. But Nisbet has managed to get himself going again. He's on the back of the pack now. He's got Sparky just in front of him, and then Damo's just in front of Sparky. Just having a little bit look further up. We've still got that battle between Ziggy and Sturdy. Ziggy looks like he's going to go for the move here, and he gets himself into to P1. He's currently hanging out on the outside. Ooh. He's just cut back in. But Sturdy unfortunately has made contact with the wall. He's kept on going, no damage unfortunately, but Lyle and Cypher has managed to get past him.
Yeah, Sturdy somewhat tried to hold on to position a little bit too hard, then right at the exit of the corner got under the rear wing of Ziggy, and then he just understeered straight off the circuit. But Ziggy, that was a lot of guts, and as James Hunt would say, big balls, going around the outside on that long right hander. And as he, he nearly undid it there.
Oh, Murph has gone round. Murph has gone round, coming out of the final corner and has made contact with the pit entry wall there. Very similar to what Ziggy just did. Obviously, Ziggy was just able to hold it. Murph, unfortunately, did make contact with the barrier, and that has dropped him to the back of the grid here.
Oh, and somewhere, I don't know what has happened. Ziggy is dropped right back down, I think, to P7, and then DJ Cypher has also had an incident, and Ziggy's had another spin next to him. Does anyone want to win this race?
I'm sure
wow.
Damo and Sparky were probably fearing for their lives there as the cars ghosted at the right time. But yeah, the leaders of Cypher and Ziggy having a little bit of a party there, exclusive to them, spinning out of the same corner. We'll have to go back and see what happened there. But up in towards the top, Sturdy unfortunately has got on the grass, and that does let Druid, Coach and Gary through. But currently, Lyle having a nice little bit of clean air in front of him and behind him in P1.
Yeah, he's going to be happy there, especially on those medium tyres. He's going to be just trying to nurse them a little bit now, because it's going to get into that point where the tyres in that 458 have heated up properly. We're going to start seeing heat soak come out of these tyres, which basically means runaway tyre wear. So if you can be a little bit smart, you can just hover there and stay in P1, but he's going to have to keep an eye on Druid on those hard tyres, with Coach also on the hards in P2, P3, with Gary in P4. And we do have Phil, who has made his way back up to P5. Sturdy is going to be feeling the effects of that soft tyre already. I don't even think a stop for double softs is going to make it in this race at this rate, but he will be probably into the pits sometime soon. What have you spotted?
It looked like Gary was going for a move on Coach, or Coach made a little bit of a mistake with the two having a little bit of a touch-in coming out of that corner there, and that has brought Phil a little bit closer to this battle here. Coach is the only one separating the two T50 lads at the moment, but we've got Druid just in front and keeping these three cars behind him at the moment. But yeah, going back to your point about Sturdy on the soft tyres, they're going to feel rough now, and obviously he's got to decide if he wants to pit soon and get on a fresh set of rubber. But like you say, I don't think another set of softs is going to get him to the end of this race.
No, quite right. Even some of the mediums are going to struggle for that 12 laps, but we've still got quite a few left to go. We're only on lap 5 at the moment. My money at the moment for a good result, if Lyle can keep where he is, he should do very well, but you're going to have to keep an eye on Druid and particularly Coach on that hard tyre. There's very few tracks where you can say the hard tyre is the prime option tyre. It's definitely an option around here with all these high-speed long turns. At the moment, just look, we're seeing a little bit more of action. It's settling down a little bit. You've got Gary, who is on those mediums, who's got the grip, and he is going to the inside against Druid, but Druid will get the better drive out of the corner. But that said, slipstream down the into turn 1, Sarah, is the move on.
Potentially here, he looks like he's tucked up behind that Lexus at the moment, maybe trying to trick Druid to maybe go a little bit more defensive so he can get on the power early. But it looks like how they are at the moment is how they're going to stay. But I was just having a little bit further look behind. Ziggy has managed to get in front of Damo, and we've got a little bit of a battle for P6 between Sturdy, Nisbet and Sparky. Yeah, that long pit straight, it's the best opportunity to get a bit of slipstream and try and make a move into turn 1. The rest of the track, it's a very difficult track to overtake.
Yeah, can quite agree with that one. But with all the curbs that we've got here, it's very easy to see a car that is upset and losing the back end either mid or late on in the corner, and opens up potential passing opportunities. As we see Coach run a little bit wide into the fast chicane, then it's put Phil right on the back of him, heading into the long right-hander. It's not much of a braking point into this corner, but if you can get the hook the inside line, particularly onto that curb, you can pull yourself around and make the pass happen. It's very rare in sort of modern motorsport to see a lot of cars side by side round long corners and passes happening without particularly big braking points, but you can definitely say this track, given the opportunity, will provide it, but you have to be ready to pounce upon a mistake from someone else. At the moment, Gary looks like he is dragging that GTR, which we to us, it is known for a little bit of tyre wear. He's dragging it into P3, maybe up to P2. He's going to think about that move into turn 1 again, but this time he's got to go to the inside. We know from tracks like Barcelona, Druid is very hard to pass, Sarah.
He is. He's a very good driver. He knows where to place that Lexus. And like I said, obviously, the optimal line for Gary there would have been to trying to go to the inside and provoke maybe a bit of a mistake from Druid, or to force the door open. But Druid knew that was coming, so he took the inside line and decided to be a bit more defensive, which forced Gary onto the outside. Obviously, slightly offline there, but it just goes to show the racecraft that Druid does have, and he knows what he's doing. He knows that he wants that P2. He wants a good result in that Lexus, which I'm sure if he keeps driving like he is, I'm sure he's going to get.
Yeah, and Sturdy has been in for a pit stop at the halfway mark, so that was called, and it's a sensible thing for him to do, to be fair. You don't want to be struggling around this track with a dead left front tyre. At the moment, Lyle up front, he must be laughing. All he's got to do is just be calm and stroke that Ferrari home and just keep that front left alive. Maybe lift off through some of the high-speed corners and just bring it home. And let the gents behind him fight over P2, 3 and 4.
Yeah, I was going to ask, if you were Lyle right now, would you be dialing yourself back to about 90%? Obviously, he doesn't have to go flat out around some of these corners. He's got a big enough gap to chill out a little bit. But obviously, asking a racing driver to chill out, they don't really want to do that. So I'm sure Lyle was still pretty much pushing it, that Ferrari, as hard as he can. But if I was him, I'd be maybe dialing it back a little bit, obviously, to make less mistakes. But looks like Druid has managed to keep in front of Gary for now. But the two T50 lads, they're getting closer together, and it looks like Phil is going to maybe potentially eye up a move here, going into the corner. Gary knows that his friend is coming through. Doesn't pose a threat there. He kind of moves out of his way and doesn't get Phil up into any trouble there.
Yeah, I think Gary knew his best opportunity to get past Druid has already gone. The tyre wear on that medium is kicking in quite severely now, and he's going to be a risk to coach behind. It's better to let his T50 partner go and have a... Oh! That's not gone well. Oh, that has not gone well at all. Phil understeered off the track, came back on with some damage, and has collided with Gary. Unfortunately, both with damage. That's going to allow Druid to get away and Coach to get past the pair of them if they're not lucky. And there goes Coach.
Yeah, Coach goes, thank you very much, T50 lads. Yeah, unfortunately, obviously, you're not wanting to crash into your closest friend on the grid, but the two T50 lads coming together. We've seen that in F1 a couple of times, teammates coming together. But unfortunately, those two picking up some damage, not going to put them in the best position for the remaining 4 laps of this race. But like you say, Lyle and Druid can sit comfortably at the minute. Obviously, Coach is won from that battle there. He's got no damage. He's in P3. If he can hold off T50 Phil at the minute, he seems to have trying to go for the move onto the podium again. But I think that it looks like Phil hasn't actually picked up any damage, so very lucky indeed. But unfortunately, his counterpart and Gary did. So Phil is still very much in within the fight, but he does tag Coach, and Coach goes round.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. That was into the braking zone for turn 2. Didn't quite see exactly how it happened, but it does look like the braking point or defence of Coach has caught out Phil. And I can only imagine that is going to be an investigation for particularly Phil on that one to see what happened, but that'll be down to the stewards afterwards. So that's fairly heavy damage for Coach, which will hinder him for the next lap or so, and he's fallen down to 8th behind Ziggy. Unfortunate, Sarah, with Phil there. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it looked like it wasn't, obviously, I don't think it was malicious. I think unfortunately Phil might have caught the rear end of Coach's Supra there, and unfortunately just spun him round going into that I'd say second, third corner of the lap. But unfortunately, like you say, obviously Coach coming out slightly worse there. and it's put him right down into P8, so I'm sure coach won't be very happy about that. But that's one for the stewards, that's not one for us, Midnight. Let them have a look at that. But Nisbet looks like he's getting a little bit closer to Sparky here. Those two have been battling it out, and it looks like Sparky nearly lost that McLaren coming out of the curves of that section here, which allows Nisbet into the inside. And we all know how fast his Ford GT is here. Will he be able to get the speed on the McLaren on the straight here?
Well, maybe down into turn one, but realistically, Joe's just got to be patient because Sparky's medium tyres are wearing out. McLaren, unfortunately, in this case, isn't doing too well with that front left. If you just hit the wrong right-handers too hard, your tyre wear will skyrocket. That seems to be what's happening to Sparky at the moment. So he's going to have to be careful, particularly when the understeer starts building. So we have to wait and see what happens with them. But back up to the fight for P2. Druid looks like he's going to have enough tyre wear to get to the end. Lyle's tyre wear in the 4C is amazing, to be absolutely fair. So he's going to bring it off. There we go, called it.
And it allows Ziggy through as well. And looks like coach might be able to get past as well. So yeah, like you say, the mediums of Sparky have well and truly fallen off of a cliff, and unfortunately it did send him round. I think he luckily didn't pick up any damage. He didn't make any contact with the wall, which was very lucky. That does drop him into P8. So like you say, Joe being nice and patient, that promotes him into P5.
Yeah, well done to Joe on that one. Patience in this kind of track and this kind of tyre wear scenario really does pay back quite a long way. As you can see, Lyle at the moment absolutely under control. Doesn't look like he's pushing the car at all, and Druid's just got to bring it home as well. But T50 Phil, despite all the incidents and a couple of bits of damage, he's quick and he is chasing down Druid. He's got just under 2 laps to catch him. He's got the much better front left tyre in Phil, so this is going to be a difficult one for Druid, but will Phil retain the position after the shooting? That's not one for us, but we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, and Sparky has decided to keep going. I think he's gonna cross the line on the rims on that McLaren, but obviously he's got about a lap and a half left to go. Ziggy is on the back of Nisbet here. He's eyeing up a move into that P5, going onto the inside line in the hairpin here. The 4C of Ziggy has managed to get that move done and dusted before the end of the corner, which is good. I think unfortunately, obviously, Ziggy looked like he was going to be in or around the podium, if not winning the race, until that incident he had earlier. But he's climbing back up, and puts himself into a good position going into the feature race, although he does get on the grass, runs himself a bit wide, and it looks like Nisbet with the overspeed here might get that P5 back.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Ziggy. Ziggy using a new wheel, still getting used to it. He's loving it, but sometimes it's a steep learning curve when you sort of jump back into competition, and unfortunately dropping a pace to Nisbet, and then coach right behind on, it has to be said, better hard tyres. But at the front, Lyle started his final lap. Phil's around again at the final corner. It's been a fun-packed race for Phil, hasn't it?
It has indeed, and up until that point he didn't have any damage, and it looked like he was going to maybe threaten Druid going into the final lap, but unfortunately, like I say, losing quite a few positions now, and it's been quite the race for him. Hopefully he'll use obviously all the experience in this race going into the feature race, which I'm sure a lot of the drivers will, and they'll definitely know that they need to try and use the tyres to their advantage, and obviously being a high tyre wear track, you can see some of the drivers basically driving on the rims like Ziggy there. That left front doesn't look very good.
Same with Sparky in P8, they're not going to be turning right at all. Coach has got past Ziggy in all of that kerfuffle out the final corner, and now we're going to see probably T50 Phil. Yeah, he's got on straight back past Ziggy. He's got so much more grip than the cars in front. Hopefully for the feature race we do see a more cool, calm and collected Phil into the race, because he's looking so quick. He's just got to reduce the incidents and calm it down for the feature race.
Yeah, we all know how quick Phil is. Maybe he just doesn't the track in that car maybe is not the best combination, and obviously maybe trying a few new things like going on the curbs. Maybe that Ferrari's like, no, I don't want to go on any curbs here. But if we were joining Lyle on the final corner, he's had a very good race. He's just kept out in the front, no issues. He's about to cross the finish line now, and I'm sure he'll be very, very happy indeed with a P1 midnight.
Absolutely, and he's managed those tyres beautifully. Druid comes home in P2 with a little bit of a dead front left. It looks like the rear tyres can do another 10 laps. Gary P3. Joe Nisbet is going to take P4. He's going to be happy with that considering how the race started. Coach P5. Phil P6. Ziggy P7. With, well, almost no tyre left. But speaking of no tyre left, we've got Sparky with a 2.5 penalty. And then near spin. I'm betting that is because of the final sector. If you start cutting corners, you get quite hefty penalties quite quickly due to the tyre wear. So, but he's going to be happy. P8. He'll learn from that for the future race. Damo P9. Former race leader Dejan Cypher is going to be coming home in P10. He's had a relatively recent pit stop, but he's going to be coming home with at least a few points towards his championship. Then we've got Murph in P11, who was unfortunate in that first lap turn 1 incident. And we've got Sturdy with another set of soft tyres and dead soft tyres, chased by Simon into the final corner. This might be a little battle for P12, and you've got Simon. Oh, that was ambitious, Simon, but who's going to get the overspeed over the line? Simon's to P12. Sturdy P13 with that Viper, and that's a photo finish. Well, at least they put a show on right to the end there, Sarah.
They did, and Simon, proving not to give up until the last lap and the last corner. He went for it, and I think definitely, Simon was in the best position there with a little bit more tyre wear. I think Sturdy went on to, I'm not sure on the tyres he went on, but obviously starting on the softs did put him a little bit out of contention to be a little bit higher up. But yeah, I think everyone did a pretty good race. I think the best, I'd say the winner of all of the kind of the mid-pack battle would be Joe Nisbet for me, because he kind of just kept it clean for the majority of it. Had a few obviously mistakes here and there, but where Coach Phil, Ziggy, Sparky as well obviously had a little bit of issues with a few spins, a few tyre wear issues, Joe Nisbet out of nowhere he was climbing the grid pretty quickly. But like I say, I've got to give it to Lyle. He was as soon as he went into the lead, he kept his composure, and he kept in the lead, no issues, no problems, and like you say, looked after the tyres pretty well.
Yes, he did very well, and he thoroughly deserves the win, especially after even starting mid-pack in that one. He's worked his way up through the pack. Just to give you the final results for the race, Lyle does take P1 by 2.7 seconds, Druid in P2, T50 Gary P3, Joe Nisbet in P4, Coach P5, and we have Ziggy in P6 due to T50 Phil having a 10-second penalty, which I believe was due to contact during the race. And then we do have Sparky P8, Damo P9, DJ Cypher P10, Murph 11th, Simon 12th, and Sturdy in 13th. And those two were separated by 1/10 of a second. So a little bit of excitement right across the line there. Sarah, that was quite an interesting sprint race, and onto the feature race as it goes. Hopefully the drivers have learned from this race, and I can only suggest intermediate tyres are not going to be the way to go. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of hard, a lot of medium tyres, and hopefully a lot of action too.
Yeah, obviously the sprint race kind of promotes a little bit more aggressive style of driving. So obviously I think Sturdy starting on the softs wanted to get a quick, clean, fast getaway, but learnt very quickly that this track is not very forgiving tyre-wise. And I think a lot of drivers will see that going into the feature race. Obviously qualifying, they have to start on the tyres that they qualified on, but I think the sprint race will definitely change a few strategies up. So I'm excited to see how all the drivers have learnt from the sprint race and what they take into the feature race.
Quite right. But before we get to the blue race feature, we have the red lobby lining up. So we're going to pass over to the commentators there and let them see what the red lobby get up to. And here we are for round 5 Red Lobby sprint race. So, leading the pack away on the rolling start today, we are going to have Iceman, who's using a different livery today for his Genesis. Let's hope that brings him some good luck. Then in P2, Giles or Giggles in that Lamborghini Huracan. P3, we have Charlie in that BMW M6. We have seen him in practice. He is looking devastatingly fast around here. Hopefully, he will be able to put the sprint top 3 position to good use today. But flanked by Sophia on her way up from the blue lobby, she is going to be really aiming to take red lobby, take a stranglehold on it, and take a win, or very least a podium here today. Then P5, we have our very own co-creator of Nighthawk Racing, Sarah Hawkey, in her amazingly liveried Lamborghini Huracan. Then Kirk with that purple livery that you can see from space, Genesis, in P6. Then Sophie in P7 in that R8 for UST. She is sitting pretty there in P7. It's a high tyre wear track and she tends to do very well at tracks like this. Let's see what she can get out of that R8.
Then in P8 we then have Nigel Mansnell in that Ferrari 458. In P9 we have Kudos. He's back in the McLaren 650S, ready to cause some chaos, I'm sure. But in P10 we have Dark Lord GT in that McLaren as well, so a McLaren row there. But in P11 we then have Wise Fodderboy in the Porsche 911. And in P12 we have Mercedes in the Nissan GTR, sporting that year 1 livery. In P13 we have Midnight ISO also in the McLaren, and then in P14, rounding off the sprint race here for round 5, we have Katie Lakai in the Nissan GTR.
And what can we say? It's quite a stacked grid on this one, Sarah. It's going to be quite interesting. We're going to have a lot of drivers. Usually we've got drivers coming through the fields, trying to make their way to the front as quickly as possible. But this is a track where it's quite difficult to overtake, particularly when you factor in tyre wear and dirty air. Drivers that are at the front today, say like Charlie and Sophia, have got a real chance of getting away. But this is also a track factoring back in that tyre wear, where we might see pit stops in the sprint race. With that in mind, I'm going to put you on the spot, Sarah. Who do you think we're going to be looking at for either a sneaky victory or good points haul today?
I'm going to back what you said about Charlie. I think, obviously, looking for hopefully a good result around here again, and obviously starting in P3 puts him in a very good position indeed. But obviously he's got the likes of Giles and Sophia surrounding him, so he's not got an easy job at the start. But yeah, like you say, obviously this track, it's not easy to overtake. There's lots of complex corners for the drivers to tackle, so it's going to be a little bit of a kind of strategic race to some degree, but it's also kind of obviously keeping it clean, hopefully, for the drivers. And yeah, a bit of a hard one to say who I'd pick for the win here.
Yeah, exactly the same. I have all faith in our drivers to try and keep it clean and get to the end of the race, but you have to say this is a track that is going to be very, very challenging.
With a very surprising pole position, we have Nisbet in the Ford GT, setting a time of a 1:30.9 flat on a medium set of tyres. Way to go, Nisbet. Great qualifying result for you, and hopefully that puts you in good position for the rest of the race. But in P2, we then have Chaos Druid in that Lexus on the medium, setting a time of a 1:36.9. In P3, we have Dijon Cypher, a great starting position for him on the mediums with a 1:37 flat. In P4, we have Ziggy with the C4 4C, setting the time on the medium tyres of a 1:37.1. In P5, we have T50 Phil, setting his time on the mediums of a 1:37.132. Not too far off Ziggy's time there. But in P6, we then have Lyle on the mediums with a 1:37.3. And then Murph in P7 on the mediums, setting a time of a 1:37.6.
And then in P8, we have Coach ahead of Sutu Racing on the hard tyre on a 1:37.8. Great qualifying lap from him there. But in P9, we have Sparky in that McLaren on the medium tyres again, 1:38.4. Swiftly followed up by the other T50 driver. We've managed to separate them for a change. T50 Gary on the mediums on 1:38.7. Then in 11th, we have Sturdy, who has gone for the soft tyre. She's going for a rapid start. Watch him off the line on a 1:39.2. Who will be paired up with Damo on the hard tyres on a 1:39.5. Another one to watch for as the race wears on. Then Welsh Murph in P13, medium tyres, 1:41.2. Who will be joined by Super Simon, also on the mediums, on 1:42.6. Now, Sarah, that is a very interesting set of qualifying results, and like you alluded to, a great result, great pole position from Joe. But I have to say, Chaos Druid really in a rich run of form as well. So, taking P2, both of those drivers to really watch out for. But from my eye, there's a lot of people I want to draw attention into this one. But Coach on those hard tyres really draws my eye. I've just got to say, the top 5 drivers with just 2 tenths apart from each other, that's going to be a tough fight, isn't it?
That is indeed, and obviously, when they set times that close to each other, it usually means that they're going to have a fight during the race. So I'm excited to see how, especially those top 3, get on. But like you say, yeah, I think Coach obviously starting mid-pack on the hard tyres. That's a great time set by him, but that also puts him in a good position because he's on a completely different strategy to the drivers around him. So excited to see how he gets on.
And with that in mind, I think we should hand over to our commentary team. Race Blue Lobby Season 5, Round 5 here at Yamigiwa Reverse. Joe Nisbet will be taking the pole position. He gets a bit of a bad start. He's swallowed up by 3 cars, T50 Field, Chaos Druid and Lyle out before even reaching turn 1. And Ziggy is up in that battle too. He's up to P3. Phil's taking a lead straight off the bat, lighting up those 458 rear tyres. And Druid again in P2 seems to like out there. DJ Cypher runs wide into turn 2. He's just about going to get away with it, but he's going to have Joe and Lyle for company straight away. Joe straight through. Gary's going to be coming up on the inside as well. This just shows you what happens on the start. You get a bit of a bad one, you're swallowed by the pack. Right out front, we have Phil, who's making a break for it, followed by Druid and Ziggy. Those 3 trying to get away from the rest of the pack already. We do see Ziggy thinking about a move up into P2, up into the long right-hander. He's got it done before he even gets there. Cuts back through. Nope, he's going defensive actually. He felt the need to, because we all know you don't want Druid in front of you because he's hard to pass. Sarah, that's an interesting first half a lap. Anything you spotted that we need to bring attention to?
I think Lyle unfortunately did maybe force Cypher a little bit wide when you picked up on it. It looked like the 2 came together a little bit, but obviously good to see that they're still going. And although he forced Cypher a little bit off track, Cypher's still going and he's climbing up the lead. But yeah, Ziggy was flying off of the start. he was he got up into that P2 position, and obviously he's got a little bit of pressure from Druid behind, but he was quite fierce in the moves that he did to get up into that podium spot nice and early.
Yeah, Druid looks like he's thinking of a move. The Lexus on the Alpha into turn 1. Ziggy has the lighter car, and he's just kept it running outside.
On a little bit of an excursion onto the grass. Runs very, very wide indeed, and it looks like Sparky has just spun Murph round, unfortunately. It looked like Murph may have got caught out by Gary rejoining the track there, and Sparky, unfortunately does send him round. But sorry to interrupt you there, Midnight. It's all going on behind.
Well, it often happens, doesn't it? I was about to say there's been no damage for any driver so far. There's a couple of drivers at the back, which I believe is Sturdy and Damo, who are trailing behind a little bit, but no damage as of last time checked. But Murph certainly will have damage, rear end damage, after colliding with the Armco after that turn 1 incident with Gary. And it's going to be one that the stewards are, I think they're going to be busy this evening. But we do have Druid, who's got back up into P2, got past Ziggy with Joe in 4th just behind. DJN is going to be happy sitting in P5 after all of the antics on the first lap there.
Yeah, in a good position in P5 at the moment is Cypher. We've seen everything's going on behind and in front of him. If he can just kind of stay where he is and let everyone do their thing, I think he could get a very good result here. But having a look as well, we've got Simon in P11. He's got a few people behind him, so it's good to see Simon quite high up. But we've got, just having a little bit of a look, we've got that battle of the Rangers all the way from the lead, actually, to be fair, because Druid is closing up on T50 Phil all the way down to Gary and Sparky as well. It looks like Gary's getting a little bit closer to Coach on this lap, so unfortunately, obviously, Gary getting on the grass last lap, he put his foot all the way down to the floor and has caught up Coach again, which is good to see. But everyone else, I don't know about you, Midnight, but it's all heating up at the top end of the field between Phil, Druid and Ziggy here. They're like battling it out around these twisty turns.
Yeah, and Druid setting the fastest lap on the last lap. It was briefly held by Phil, but it looks like Druid, he is loving this layout. But we do know that Lexus isn't the kindest in the front tyres, and the 458 with the rear tyres, so it's very opposites with the cars, those two, this week. But I have to say, also Gary has picked up some damage. I don't know if that's the incident with Murph, but a lap or so ago. But he does have front right damage, but with the medium tyres he's keeping pace with Coach in 7th and 8th respectively. And these three out front, it looks like settling into a little bit of a rhythm now, just ahead of Joe. At the moment it is well too early to call, especially when it comes to podium or win, but these three on those medium tyres trying to make a break for it. We are going to see probably what we saw in the sprint races, where the hard tyre will become the dominant tyre fairly quickly once that heat soak in the tyres kicks in.
Yeah, especially around here. Obviously, we know just from the sprint race as well how high of a tyre wear track this is at the moment. But it looks like everyone's kind of settling in a little bit. Obviously, the top three have other ideas. They're not settling in, they're going for it. But everyone else behind is kind of seeing what happens. Obviously, if anyone makes mistakes, they'll go for it. But this top three is barely separated by anything.
Yeah, and I suspect Ziggy and Druid are loving this at the moment. It's always nicer to be the chasing driver than the chased. And it feels in an uncomfortable position because he's the only one without any sort of slipstream to help drag him along the straights. But that said, the drivers behind are going to be having his dirty air in those long corners.
Well, it looks like Ziggy went on the grass a little bit there. Again, probably the sub-optimal line there, but he's still on the back of Druid here. And Druid looks like he runs a little bit off onto the grass, which has lost him a little bit of time. And the momentum of that 4C with Ziggy, he manages to get into that P2.
Yeah, it's just that little bit of momentum loss, a little bit of time rubbing up against the Armco or across the grass, which will dirty up your tyres, which is the last thing you want around here. But I have to say, it's good to see all the drivers making their way around. It's a lot calmer than the sprint race. They know this is a lot longer a race, and you can't win it in the first 3 or 4 laps. And we do see, hopefully, a lot of drivers taking it a little bit easier and not letting that heat soak in the tyres kicking quite so badly. And we do have Welsh Smurf, who has rejoined us for the feature race after a less than optimal sprint race. He's battling with Murph in P10 and P11 at the moment, and unfortunately that's bad timing. We do see Murph and Welsh Smurf come together, and that is unfortunately another retirement for the Smurf. That's an incident that the stewards will be looking at later on, Sarah.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Didn't quite catch the full picture there of what happened. It looks like the two did come together, or maybe the Ford GT unfortunately just spinning Smurf round, but unfortunately retirement from him. But as we look a little bit further ahead, the battle for P8 between Lyle and Sparky is about to heat up. Obviously Lyle, fresh off of a sprint race victory in P8, is probably a little bit in unfamiliar territory being in P8.
Yeah, he hasn't also got that clear track that he had in most of the sprint race as well. We do see Sparky get a little bit too close under the back of Lyle there and picking up a little bit of understeer, but cutting back in, taking a wider line. And we might see Sparky getting a little bit of an undercut coming out of the corner into the next one. No, not enough straight line there. Sparky looks like he is challenging for P8.
Yeah, and I was going to literally just about to say that we clocked that at the same time that Cypher had picked up a half-second penalty there, which will lose him a little bit of time on the straight. Sparky goes on the grass as well, but I think Cypher had enough of a gap between himself and the cars in front and behind to not lose out too much, but it has allowed Coach in the Supra to get a little bit closer. Obviously reminds Cypher that the Supra is chasing him, but as well as Gary as well. Gary in that P7, he's in a little bit of no man's land between Coach and Lyle at the moment. But obviously 6 laps in, it feels like we've been doing a lot more laps than just 6. But that just goes to show we've been racing action the whole way so far. And it looks like...
it's happened again, Sarah. Phil into the barrier in the chicane, heavy damage, and he's just come out in P3 right ahead of Joe. That's really unfortunate. Same thing that happened in the sprint.
Yeah, maybe potentially pushing it a little bit too hard, or expecting that Ferrari to ride the curbs nicely, which the Ferrari had other ideas, unfortunately. Obviously not what you want from the lead of the race, but it's very early on, so I wouldn't write him off just yet for a good result, but obviously won't do his strategy and or performance any good here.
Yeah, quite right, and I think you're probably right. It's the 458 isn't suiting either the curbs, or it could be that the braking marker he's used has changed with the change in time of day, but that is unfortunate for Phil. Ziggy up to P1. He's going to be happy there. He's going to have to try and stretch the legs of that Alfa Romeo with that Lexus, that beautifully liveried Chaos Druid Lexus right behind him, with Joe in the Ford GT right behind. Phil comes into the pits to repair that damage. I have to say that is probably the best idea he could have done.
Yeah, get rid of that damage nice and early, put the mechanics to work, fix the body work, and then get back out there and obviously see what he can do. Like I say, it's early into the race, so hopefully it won't affect him too much. Everyone's pretty much, glued together still, so it's not like everyone's spread out yet. So hopefully it won't lose him out too much as Murph comes in as well.
Yeah, probably the same for Murph, although 6 laps in, that front left is demolished on mediums. That is, ouch, that is significant tyre waste. He's not even taking on fuel. He's going to the hard tyre. Hopefully he's learned his lesson on that one, and we're going to see nothing but hard tyre running from now. It's worth reminding that all drivers must use 2 different types of compounds for the feature race here. So that is Murph's mandatory 2 compound already satisfied. So that's one less problem he's going to have today. But up front, Ziggy looks like he's relaxing into this a little bit. P1, he's going to be happy. He's got a new wheel. He's in the zone, sorry.
Yeah, he's locked in, hopefully, and like Lyle in the sprint race, he's got clean air in front and behind him, so the pressure is off a little bit, but we all know Ziggy will be pushing it 100%, and looks like he's acclimatising to that wheel pretty quickly.
Yeah, quite right. And D50 Gary right behind. Do you know what's impressive? That Gary is carrying this amount of damage and that tyre wear, and he's still keeping with Coach, who we know is a very, very quick driver in his own right, and obviously the head of his own championship for Sutu Racing. So, obviously, props to both drivers here. Coach catching a degen, but Gary, despite the damage, holding on to him.
Yeah, obviously that GTR is treating him nicely around here. Obviously the damage, I don't think is maybe hindering him too much. Obviously will be hindering him a little bit lap time wise, and it will allow Lyle just behind to catch up with him as well. But you never know, Gary could probably drag him and Lyle a little bit closer to Coach, as they do seem to be getting a little bit closer, and the Coach is getting ever so close to Cypher here as well, so we could have a four-way battle for P4 coming up very shortly. But yeah, everyone else, having a quick look across the board, everyone else is getting on to that point where they might be settling into the race. Obviously we've had a few pit stops already with the tyres, maybe seeing better days. Obviously Sparky in P8 here on the mediums, his mediums have seen better days for sure, but yeah, everyone else is having a good race so far, I think, and Druid hasn't lost too much time to Ziggy here. It'd be interesting to see what these two up front do. It looks like Druid is pulled over to the right hand side. He's coming into the pits. That's an early pit stop from the front two, but it looks like those tyres, they need a change in.
Yeah, and it's right on the money for basically 50% fuel. So that would basically say he's going to go to another set of medium tyres and do another 8 laps. So it's going to be a lot of stops for Druid in this race if he sticks with medium tyres. I think a lot of these drivers are going to be getting rid of the medium tyres fairly early on and going to the hards. But that said, Joe on the mediums, he's doing pretty well with that tyre wear, and Degen Cypher's tyre wear is looking quite fantastic actually. So it's almost car driving style specific almost.
Yeah, and it's knowing this track, it is a very difficult track. Obviously with the curves, the twisty turns, the elevation changes, so it throws some unique challenges towards the drivers. All the drivers seem to be settling in quite well and acclimatising to the difficult track. But I was just thinking, there's not many tracks that we go to where drivers come in, they don't put any fuel in, and all they do is change tyres. It just goes to show how much this track is burning up those tyres.
Yeah, and it's opposite to some tracks like Tokyo Expressway. That's going to be more of a fuel race, but this is where the calendar, it challenges drivers in very different ways. Sometimes you have to use a little bit more strategic sense, other times it is manage the car, manage yourself, or blinding speed, whichever track calls for which set of circumstances. And today it is that tyre wear, like you say, and we're seeing multiple pit stops without any refuelling. We're going to see Gary coming in. Yes, he's getting rid of those medium tyres and going for a new set of mediums, interestingly on far less fuel usage than what we saw for Druid. So despite the low fuel burn on this track, we are seeing some variations still. Sparky in as well.
Yeah, Sparky looking like he's going to repair that damage as well. Both drivers, Gary and Sparky, are putting their mechanics to work, putting a fresh bumper and maybe a fresh new wheel for Gary's car as well. But having a look back out on track, it looks like Joe made a little bit of a mistake there in the first corner, went wide, and that has invited Cypher and Coach to get a little bit closer to him and really heating up this battle for the podium.
Yeah, you've got to say, Joe's tyres are looking now. It looks like... There's a few bits of sideways action there. It does look like the 4GT has hit that point of heat soak, where the tyres get to such a temperature you get runaway tyre wear, and that tyre wear looked much better even just 2 laps ago. They do see Degen, who he's just reeling him in at this point, that tyre wear. Probably 10 degrees difference on those tyres, which is surprisingly such a big part of the racing in this formula and around tracks like this. But you have to say, Joey's got to be coming in this lap, if not lap after, because he's not going to be able to hold back either DJ and Cypher or Coach for very long.
Yeah, and Let's see what he will do. He has pulled over to the right hand side. Will he try and no, he does go into the pits. I thought he might throw Cypher off by doing a dummy, but no, he goes in, and Cypher into P2, Coach into P3. Coach and Cypher getting very close here, and is battling it out, but looks like Druid in P5 after that pit stop. Like I say, obviously fresh rubber, but a little bit less than half a tank of fuel. He looks like he'll be going another 8 laps before coming back in, and maybe going on to the hards. Like I said, I don't see it. I imagine a lot of people going on to the softs here. You never know. Someone might want the fastest lap at the end, but we've got a long way off until then.
Quite right. And we did see in the previous lap, Gary went for a pit stop and he went to the hard tyre, full tank of fuel. Joe has done exactly the same thing, and of course Joe must be riding high at the moment off the back of a fantastic win at High Speed Ring in the feature race. But this is a very, very different track to High Speed Ring, so he's still got his work cut out for him. But out front we do have Ziggy. He's got to be coming in very, very shortly as he puts the lap on Sturdy, but Cypher, he's gapping Coach a little bit. Coach, despite the hard tyre, has got worse tyre wear on that front left. So Degen on his lovely Fanatec and quite smooth driving style is making that Lambo work nicely. As here comes the leader into the pit lane, Sarah. You can only say for Ziggy, fuel up a little bit. Hard tyres, what do you reckon? Or keep with the same strategy, stick with mediums? A little bit of fuel.
He's on that cusp at the minute where he could potentially just put on another set of mediums and go out again, but he does look like he's going to put some fuel in, so maybe he has gone onto the hard tyres.
Nope.
Oh, no, onto the mediums, a couple more percent of fuel.
Softs.
Softs? No, I didn't predict that. I didn't think Ziggy was going to go for the softs. Maybe wanting to secure that fastest lap early doors?
That is surprising, we have to say. In the pre-race and in the sprint race, we definitely saw soft tyres was not the way to go. But yeah, maybe he is going for those 3 extra points for the fastest lap. So that's a very interesting choice for Ziggy. Or maybe he's learned from his compatriot, his friend Dark Lord, who has said for the red lobby he might be doing something very similar. So something to look out for later on in the sessions. But at the moment, Degen Cypher, he's looking happy out front, but Coach has caught back up to him again. It seems to sort of swing and roundabouts for these two at the moment. It looks like Degen has had a little bit of a scruffy lap, because the last few laps have been relatively consistent, and Coach having a bad previous lap. It looks like Coach is back on his tail again.
Yeah, it looked like a few laps ago Coach was dealing with a few oversteer issues, but he seems to have nailed that down, and he's back on the bumper of that Lamborghini. Going on to lap 13, we've got Coach looking one way. He's gone to the right hand side, the outside line of turn 1, which gives Cypher the inside line. Cypher able to brake a little bit later there, and he is very defensive, keeps onto that inside line, keeps on the curb, and then out wide, which promotes him back up into that P1. Good driving by these two here. Quite
right. And Coach, he's going to know that the Lambo is high wearing on the rear tyres. So if Coach is going to get Degen anyway, it's going to be under acceleration out of a corner like this hairpin here. So we might see Degen under pressure light up those rear tyres, but he's got a wise head on him, and he's not letting him affect him at this moment in time. So let's hope this battle carries on. But we just see these drivers getting so close to each other. We do have up front, we do have Sturdy, who is being lapped. We do see Degen run a little bit wide, gives Coach the opportunity into the right-hander. Is he going to get this one done? Looks like Coach has taken it, but he's going to be struggling to get that car to turn right now. We could easily see Degen come back in. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not over till it's over, as they say, but obviously the back marker of Sturdy here is just in front of Coach, and Ziggy has gone through as well. But it looks like Coach, he's not gone around Sturdy just yet. Cypher really struggling with that tyre now, so maybe Cypher maybe leaving it a little bit late for his pit stop. But saying that, they both go round again, both feeling probably the pain of those tyres, but especially the front left. But obviously now it's Cypher's chance to get past Sturdy here. I'm sure he'll want to get that move done and dusted as soon as he can to try and ignite that fight between himself and Coach again. Sturdy over to that left-hand side, Cypher on the right. The two come into contact with the back marker of Sturdy with Cypher there. Not what you want when you're catching the leader, but I'm sure that'll be one for the stewards.
Yeah, and there's some damage there as well. And we are hearing that he may have started on the wrong tyre, so unfortunately a bad day goes to worse for Sturdy. But the good thing about racing is he may have a bad day one day, but he may have a great day the next. So as long as he's getting some mileage done and keeps moving forward, so he will hopefully do well. Lyle into the pits as well, just seen off camera, so he's gone to the hard tyre and a full tank of fuel as well. Dejan has lost a little bit of time compared to Coach in the last half a lap thanks to the incident with Sturdy, but I do want to draw your attention to Chaos Druid and Ziggy, both, well, Ziggy taking the fastest lap, the last lap round, but catching Coach and Dejan by 3 to 4 seconds a lap since their pit stops.
Yeah, he is flying round in that Alpha 4 CC4 as he likes to call it. He's definitely creating a threat for the podium, if not the win here. And maybe he just wanted to add a little bit more flair, you know, going on the soft tyres this early on, maybe for obviously a shorter stint than what he'd probably imagined. But he's definitely on the back of Druid here, so he's going to have to use the full potentials of those softs as much as he can. And he sets a very fast lap time there.
Yeah, 7 tenths quicker than his own previous fastest lap. But he's going to have to be careful because that soft tyre is going to start to go through that thermal degradation anytime soon. He just falls away from you. It's like it turns into Swiss cheese very, very quickly. But that said, no one told Ziggy that, and he's going to be going for P3. But we do know Druid is hard to pass, but Ziggy going for a different line of cutback. He's going to put him into P3. He's going to put him on the attacking line, but he hasn't got the power. That Lexus just about holding off the C4, 4C, whatever you want to call it. But they are, the pair of them, closing in on the much-aged tyres of Dejan Cypher. It looks like the pair of them might get him out of the chicane. It looks like Dejan's rear tyres have just about had enough. Interesting to see the Lambo's rear tyres are going. But it was mentioned earlier on, but around this track, see rear tyres going. That is an interesting one. Maybe he's got the brake bias a little too rearward. He needs to put it a little bit towards the front and learn from that. But at the moment, Ziggy looking good out of the top 4. He has the most fuel. I've taken someone at his pit stop and following Dejan, ahead of Dejan Cypher, following Chaos Druid around. Coach, yep, here he comes. Pit time for him. Probably Dejan Cypher as well. And it looks like Druid's going to inherit the lead. There goes Druid and Coach.
Yeah, and obviously Druid not too far in front of Ziggy here. Ziggy will be patiently waiting to get that P1 position on these soft tyres. They have got, I believe that's Simon just in front of them. Simon obviously he's very good with the blue flags. He moves over to the drivers very quickly, and obviously the drivers are very thankful for that. And I love the awareness that Simon's got when he's on track. He knows where all the drivers are, how fast they're approaching. He's very good race awareness wise. As he moves over to the right hand side, he lets Druid and Ziggy through. And I've got to say, I'm thoroughly impressed with Simon's race so far in P10. That's a really good result for him so far. Yeah,
he's doing well. He's taking advantage of people making other mistakes and just getting the car round and building up some speed. So just staying on the track, keep moving forwards, and you will see results, which is exactly what he's doing. Alright, this fight for first place is gonna, I'm almost certain we're gonna see both cars in at this lap, or very least one lap apart. Ziggy's soft tyres are not going to last much longer.
I think
he's
Druid
done well.
is in because that fuel looks pretty low, indeed. I think Ziggy maybe potentially could go for another lap just, although the tyre wear on that left front especially does look like it's about to fall off the cliff. And Ziggy, hold it, Ziggy, no,
That was always going to be a possibility with that tyre wear kicking in. He just runs wide onto the grass and into the barrier. That was always a possibility, sadly, and that is going to really let Druid off the hook.
Looking on the bright side, at least he crashed next to the pit lane, so he didn't have to go too far. The recovery truck didn't have to go too far. He was able to get it into the pits, repair that damage, get on a new set of rubber, and obviously Druid in the pits as well. So might lose a little bit of time, but not too much time.
Yeah, he's going to be kicking himself for that one though. We do have Joe, who has taken the lead, at least provisionally for the moment, on those hard tyres, with Gary in P2, who has yet again got damage on that front right. So it seems to be a running theme today. We do have Ziggy coming out of the pit lane. He'll be going to probably a set of hard tyres with a full tank, but for the moment we do have a rivalry revisited. We have T50 Phil with some front end damage right ahead of the fresh tired coach. So we have to see how long it is that Phil can hold on to that P3.
I think the two T50 lads, they like syncing up with their damage and stuff, so maybe it was a coordinated damage between the two. Probably not, but obviously the two T50 lads running quite highly at the moment, but and they're always glued together, they're always around about the same part of the track, and this is the case again today. But hopefully, obviously, they'll repair that damage in their next pit stop, although Coach is tucking up behind Phil now. Coach obviously coming out the pits in the last couple of laps. He's on a fresh set of rubber and aerodynamically in better shape than Phil, so I don't think it will take him too long to get past, maybe on this start finish straight here. But Joe having a brilliant race so far. He's kept it, nice and consistent, and is currently enjoying a nice P1 position on those hard tyres with Gary, like you say, obviously having that damage. He's not under, I'd say, immediate pressure right now, Joe, but he'll keep an eye on Gary behind him.
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult for Gary to get past Joe with that deficit. Coach in the pits. Big damage. He's had an incident in the final corner somewhere.
We missed that. we missed that. We'll have to go back and have a look and see what happened. But yeah, unfortunate for Coach. Looks like no tyre change, no fuel, just repairing that damage. It must have been a very similar thing to either Ziggy, obviously coming out of the final corner, or in those twisty turns, maybe just colliding with the barrier there. But oh, it looked like he was about to swing it again, but keeps hold of it, and obviously in P8 position at the moment.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Coach. I mean, at least it happened where it did. It's only going to drop him 6 or 7 seconds, which at very least isn't the worst thing in the world, but that is making life difficult for him. He was looking at the back of P3 and upwards at that point. I have to wait and see. But Joe, in his rookie season with Nighthawk Racing, he's just been so impressive from minute one. He's a good, clean, solid driver who just extracts what he can out of the car and is happy doing so. So all the luck in the world to Joe for this one. He's got a very experienced T50 Gary behind him as well, who he's in his second season with us as well. So it's good to see these drivers leading the grid at the moment. But I have to say, Coach, he has let Phil off the hook on this one, as Phil does kick up a little bit of grass out of the final corner. I did notice previous lap, Druid is still pushing very hard. He ran, would you say, wide at the back end of the circuit. Didn't lose him much time, but he was flirting with the barrier, and that's something a lot of drivers are doing today. And before I hand over to you on this one, Sarah, DJ Cypher moving to that hard tyre. He got an incredible stint out the mediums, and he's going to hopefully get another one on the hards. He's been very impressive so far today. At the moment, reaching the halfway point, Sarah, who has been most impressive to you so far?
Oh, tough question. I feel like everyone has impressed me quite a lot. Obviously, it's a difficult track, so just to get the car, round to the end is going to be obviously the hardest point, and it just goes to show how difficult this track is. Even our most experienced drivers that we have are having a few mistakes, and obviously getting the cars on the curbs and the cars, not agreeing with them, and obviously just it's a testament to how tough this track is, and it's putting the drivers to their limits. But I'd say at the moment, Nisbet, Joe, he's impressed me quite a lot in that Ford GT. Like you say, obviously coming off of the back of a good result at High Speed Ring, he's carrying that momentum into this feature race. So maybe, just maybe, we might have him win another feature race this week. But apart from that, I think I'd say Druid is doing a pretty good race so far. So is Cypher. Everyone is. I think, unfortunately, maybe we've had Murph go round. Unfortunately. But I've got to say, I'm thoroughly impressed by Simon as well at the minute, circulating in P10.
Yeah, you don't have to be in the top positions to be impressive, as long as you're showing good effort and moving forwards and developing yourself.
But who's impressing you so far? I'll flip the question on you now.
I was about to say DJ and Cypher. He's just did a wall of death around turn 1. Honestly, that first stint that he had done was massively impressive. Other than that, our very own Ziggy has been doing very, very well. But honestly, I'm only just singling out certain things that we've seen so far, because all the drivers on the grid are doing things very, very well in their own way. And at the moment, Joe is, despite being caught by Gary, he is showing a lot of speed and maturity, and he's doing very well. That 4GT can't be too fun around this track.
No. Nisbet is a good friend of our good friend Sidley, so maybe Sidley is giving him some words of wisdom going into ahead of this race, and maybe obviously congratulate him from the win of last round, maybe giving him a bit of a pep talk going into this race, and obviously he's fully showing what he's capable of in that 4GT at the minute. Gary not too far behind. Looks like Gary's got a little bit of overspeed on this bit here, but we all know the straight line speed of that 4GT is quite fast, so the GTR has a little bit of work cut out for him, and T50 Phil dives into the pits.
Yeah, I can only think he's gotten fed up with the damage that he's got on the front end. Gary does go for the move into turn 1. He's just about made it stick, but he's going to be struggling under the top speed as Joe comes back at him. A little bit of contact into the corner, a little bit of paint traded there. That'll be a report for the stewards to have a look at later on. Was Joe far enough alongside? I don't think we could see from our vantage point. But at the moment, Joe does retain the lead, but I would imagine the T50 gentleman is going to be on to stewards about that one. But in P3 at the moment, Chaos Druid catching the pair of them.
Yeah, it looks like Chaos Druid has been a little bit held up by Murph there, although Murph does move out of the way, allowing Chaos Druid to get back on it and try to catch up Gary, who you can just about see in the distance going over the hill now. But yeah, obviously, like you say, a bit of paint swap between the 4GT and the GTR. And Gary, you can't forget, Gary's still got that damage, so obviously to be on the back of Nisbet here, he's doing pretty well and driving the socks off of that GTR.
Yeah, quite right. And as we know, the GTR as well tends to wear the front tyres rather heavily. He's driving around the issues and the problems rather well. That is in itself rather impressive. And these two drivers look like they're going to be quite a few laps away from their next pit stop. So this might be a race we see between them for a good couple of laps yet. If we do see Gary shaping up for a pass on Joe into turn 1, a little bit slipstreaming, late onto the brakes, Gary dives to the inside, takes the apex to the corner, and this time he does hopefully what he didn't do last time and hold back Joe. But that said, Joe's cutting back, but he is on the outside this time, and Gary gets that move completed, holding Joe off into turn 2 and 3.
Yeah, good racing that time around by the two. I think they learnt from the previous lap that they needed to give each other a little bit more room, and obviously Nisbet for now in P2 I think obviously it's good to sometimes give up the position to choose life, and I think both of them doing that there. Although Gary looks like he skipped the chicane a little bit there, gets the GTR on the curb, losing momentum, and Nisbet didn't have to wait too long to get back into that P1 position.
Well, that is a point I was going to bring up with Phil earlier on. Once he got into the lead, it was Degen around. I was about to say Ziggy also just got past Degen. That's unfortunate for him, but never mind. He will get that going and he will make a recovery, I'm sure. But once you get into the lead, I was going to say with Gary and Phil, sometimes you lose your braking market, and then once you're on your own, you then make a mistake and the person behind you gets straight back through, which has exactly happened again. And fortunate for Degen, he had recently lost that place to Ziggy and has now let through Coach and Lyle into 5th and 6th respectively, now carrying some significant damage early into the stint on the hard tyre. So I think he'll be back in, and it's probably too early to go for a set of tyres to the end, so that is going to be either a long stint with damage or another guaranteed pit stop, Sarah.
Yeah, we'll see what he does in the next lap or so. But yeah, very unfortunate. I didn't quite catch the full incident. Just saw him facing the wrong way, unfortunately. He does decide to go around for another lap, so maybe he's going to see how that Lamborghini reacts with the damage. But yeah, going back to your previous point about obviously when drivers are in the lead losing their brake markers, I think obviously when you're the chasing car, you're reacting to the car in front, but the car in front is doing all the hard work of choosing when to brake. So sometimes when you're the chasing car and you're then promoted into the lead, you're then having to really quickly, go back to almost qualifying mode as to where you were braking, trying to brake as late as possible in some of these corners. So I think you picked up a good point there, that some of the drivers, when they get into the lead, they're obviously they can't react to any cars around them because there is none. So it's good to see obviously the drivers when they get into the lead trying some new things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, and full props to Damo there. Saw the leading free pack coming through, and he got right off the racing line and let them through. A lot of maturity there from Damo. And it is sad to see Damo somewhat at the back of the back today. We know how quick he can be, but it's good to see him fully aware and seeing what's going on around him. Absolute credit to him there. As we do see Druid getting past Gary, whose tyre wear has now reached that peak where it's very hard for him to defend, let alone attack. So Druid up to P2. Honestly, Druid so far, I think, having almost the race of his racing career so far. He's looking good, in control, in command. Only a few little issues with a little bit of skirting around the outside and a little bit of grass picked up here and there, but who hasn't at this point? And yeah, we have to say Druid looking strong, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. He's like you say, maybe a few mistakes here and there, but this track definitely isn't easy, and I've had my fair share of mistakes around here, so it's only normal for drivers to pick up a few here and there, and eat their cars eating the grass a little bit much. But he looks like he's going to be on the back of Joe here in the next couple of corners, maybe on the next lap. But I think that tyre wear and coupled with the damage of that GTR has made it a little bit more difficult for Gary. Oh, I saw that there.
He keeps doing it.
Close to the barrier.
That's exactly where he keeps doing it, but he's getting away with it. He's glancing off the Armco with such a degree, he's just basically bouncing.
Yeah, I mean, a braver person than what I am, because I want to stay well clear of that barrier. But Druid, thinking of other ideas, wants to get to know the barrier a little bit more personally, especially through that section there. But it looks like we've losing Gary into the pits here. Looks like some more fuel, definitely new tyres, and they're repairing that damage as well.
We do.
Always looks Nisbet's gone wide, and Druid has got a little bit closer, although Nisbet has kept it on track and is keeping Druid at bay at the moment.
Yeah, we also have Sturdy in the pits, who might be retiring. I'm not certain yet, but we will wait and see what happens. But in the meantime, Druid is going for a move on Nisbet, and it looks like Joe he almost gave up the corner. He knew that was coming. There wasn't much point in fighting. He might well know that his fight is not with Druid today.
Yeah, and obviously, like what Gary did a few laps ago, I think the tyre wear of that Ford GT is got to that point where it has fallen off the cliff. The grip obviously has got a lot worse very quickly, as you can see. Nisbet struggling for a little bit of grip compared to Druid, who is sailing through at the moment with a bit more life in those tyres.
I have to say, as we've mentioned before, the Lexus is not known for being good on tyres, but this track does seem to be allowing drivers with certain techniques the ability to not really incur as much tyre wear as the next driver. So good for Druid on that one, but we do see Ziggy, who has, after that spin earlier on, a little bit of a dented front bump and a little bit of dented pride. He is back up to P3 and catching Joe, who is now in the pit. So okay, maybe he's not catching Joe, but he's up to P2. Ziggy almost down to the canvas on that front right again. He's got to go for the hard tyre, surely, next round, although he has completed his 2 mandatory compounds in medium and soft. Can he... Well, Sarah, can he just do a complete alternate strategy? Just go light and softer tyres, medium and soft, rather than hard tyres? Could he be doing that?
I mean, there's definitely the potential to do that. I was just trying to calculate how many laps we've got left. We've got about 13 laps left, so potentially.
That would be a set of hard tyres to the end, potentially, or maybe medium and soft.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what Ziggy does choose to go for here. I mean, he is quick. He's proven how quick he is today, so maybe the softer tyres are maybe helping him out a little bit on that 4C. It's not the easiest car to drive, so maybe the softs is unlocking a little bit of power for him. But obviously the guys around him might only go for one more pit stop potentially in the next couple of laps, and then that's them done. So I mean, you don't lose too much time in the pits here, but it'll be interesting to see what Ziggy does do. Obviously Ziggy's currently in that P2 position, Druid in P1. It'll be exciting to see what he decides to do.
Quite right, and it's definitely worth drawing everyone's attention to. We are completely in the zone. Right, this is the last third of the race. It is one pit stop to the end, most likely, as we do see Joe getting past. Was that Degen's Cypher?
It was indeed.
Yeah, Degen's damage really starting to affect him now. But I think he could come into the pits and get away with that at this point. What did you see?
Well, Phil just got past Cypher as well, but Nisbet coming out of the twisty turny section, he dipped about half the car onto the grass and off the curb, and narrowly just about saved his car from facing the wrong way. But he kept going. But definitely looked a bit more dramatic. That Ford GT nearly losing it, but like you say, obviously Cypher losing a few positions there.
Yeah, definitely flirting with danger there, Sarah.
Oh yeah, for sure. A lot of these drivers are. They're a lot braver than what I am.
Well, some of them are hitting the curb so hard, it is launching the car into air. And traditionally speaking, unless the front wheels are in contact with the ground, they don't turn. So definitely pushing their luck a little bit. But to somewhat finish a point, we are definitely within that zone where all drivers can now pit and go to the end, regardless of fuel and tyre. It's going to be hard or mediums from here. But looking at the drivers that we've got out on track, Druid could probably pit and go to the mediums at the end of this stint. Ziggy, yeah, he's definitely stayed out one lap too long. He's got nothing left on that front left at all, as he almost gets coached.
Oh!
Well, that was entertaining.
Is he going to get a penalty there? I don't know if he crossed the white line. I wasn't on board with him at the time, but that looked like obviously coach and him got each other a little bit confused as to where they were going, maybe personal. Trying to bluff each other. Yeah, got up and close and personal between the two there. It'd be interesting to see, obviously, if Ziggy did cross the white line, or if he managed to get into that pit lane just in the right nick of time, as we join him as he's coming out of the pits currently.
Mediums.
And mediums, but he didn't pick up a penalty, so it must have just got in before that white line started. But that has obviously brought himself a little bit closer to that fight between himself and Gary, and Murph is the meat in the sandwich at the moment between the two.
Yeah, exactly that. We have Dejan in, hopefully his final stop, repair that damage and go again. It does look like into the pits that Ziggy coming in was we had no pressure left in that front left tyre at all. He would be trying to turn right into the pits, and it would not be turning right at all. So coach was trying to undertake and get past, ended up in a bit of confusion between the two. And it does look like Murph has made himself a little bit more of a meat irritant in that sandwich, hasn't he?
Yeah, it looked like Ziggy, unfortunately. Oh no, Phil! Again, same corner as earlier, I believe.
It is.
Yeah, that Ferrari just doesn't like that corner very much, does it? But going back to Murph, looked like Ziggy made a little bit of a mistake there as we joined. Oh, Gary made a bit of a mistake there too, getting very close to the barrier. But Ziggy made a bit of a mistake, and Murph almost was going to unlap himself, but I think he fought against it. Because obviously Gary very close behind him. But yeah, like you say, Murph in the middle of these two at the moment. Ziggy has managed to create a little bit of a bigger gap between himself and Gary. Gary obviously flirting with the barrier a little bit there. And we've currently got Lyle in that P3 position. But yeah, obviously some of the drivers, especially Lyle, I think he has to come into the pits very soon. Most of the drivers taking their last stops.
Yeah, and Lyle, he's very much gone underneath the radar in this one. We've not seen him any incidents or any big overtakes or any dramatic moments. But after that sprint win, he's just kept it clean. And that's why he's running P3. And the longer he goes, he's going to have much fresher tyres than the drivers around him to the end as well. So that smooth driving style really paying him dividends today. But we are going to see drivers like Ziggy and Gary, who are on much fresher tyres than the guys in front of them, try and really undercut them at the moment. But at some point, so it's going to be the overcut for this last stop. These drivers that are going to pit later are going to have such much more grip towards the end of the final laps.
Yeah, and I think obviously it will definitely help them with that overcut. Like you say, obviously Druid coming in now, wanting to get the overcut done and dusted. Coach staying out for maybe 1 or 2 more laps here. Druid in desperate need of some fuel as well. But we'll see what Lyle does. Lyle goes round for another lap as well. So we'll see where Druid comes out of the pits here. Ziggy coming around the final corner. He's obviously going to the end. Will he get out in front of Druid? He looks like he might just get in front here.
Yeah, it's going to
Gary having to serve a half-second penalty.
Yeah, it's going to be Druid and Gary together, I feel.
Oh!
I was right. I didn't mean that close together.
Yeah, not in the literal sense, guys. That was very close. Lucky one of the drivers ghosted there. Otherwise, that could have been a bit dangerous. But
well, this is the first time in the race that Gary's been fighting with someone without damage, so can we see Gary unleash his actual real speed in this race? He's going to make it very hard for Druid to get by despite those fresher tyres. Ziggy up to P3, Lyle up to P2 and Coach P1 at the moment. Well, where do we go from here? Do we see Coach pull a little bit of a blinder, carry on for another 2 laps, and then go to soft tyres and just shred the fastest lap and the other cars on soft tyres? Or do we just see him play it safe, go to medium tyres?
ooh.
We'll wait and see.
That is the $1 million question. I think obviously whatever Coach does, Lyle will definitely follow. Although Lyle might have to pit now.
Yeah.
Compared to Coach. Yeah, he comes into the pits. Maybe Coach might react to what Lyle does here. Potentially if he goes on the softs, he might go softs too. Or he might go completely different with the mediums. But Coach has put himself in a great position here to get on the podium, if not maybe potentially a win here, depending on his strategy.
Yeah, despite that unforced error pit stop earlier on when he was battling with Phil, I think it was. He has...
Oh, Ziggy's gone round. Ziggy's gone round. He's dropped himself to P4, and that has unleashed Gary and Druid onto the podium. No, Ziggy.
He's going to be kicking himself. That is 2 spins. That's not throwing away a win, but that's definitely potentially... Well, he's probably throwing away a podium as he runs wide again. He's trying too hard. You've got dirty tyres. You have to back off and wait for your tyres to clean up, and it's going to drop him down behind Joe, potentially, who's on the hard tyres, so not as much grip, but Ziggy's going to have to gather himself back up very, very quickly, and remember that the grip on those tyres isn't going to be optimum for a few corners. Unlucky, Sarah, but unforced error.
Yeah, very unlucky there. But obviously, we now know how quick, well, we've always known how quick Ziggy is, so maybe, you know, with this new wheel going into the next round, we'll see Ziggy become a whole new driver here, and showing the speed that he's got today, I think he could carry this into Tokyo and do pretty well.
Yeah, quite right, and in the FEC series as well. For those that don't know, the FEC series is our loving short name for the F1 RSC Endurance Racing Championship, which is a 3-hour Group 4 event. We do see Joe making a move on Ziggy into that final corner, and Ziggy cutting back underneath, and Ziggy getting the position back, but it's going to be a drag race down into turn 1 and then late on the brakes. Oh, I don't know who's put money on for this one. Joe playing it safe for the meantime. Ziggy giving him a space, but cutting back towards the exit, holding on for this meantime. But yeah, we will see some drivers, they really struggle when it comes to either a certain wheel, certain setup, certain car, and some drivers come alive when they have a bit of an upgrade. So we shall see what Ziggy gets up to. And at the moment, we're going to say Gary's had an upgrade in the fact he's got a fully working car. But so has Druid with those fresh tyres right behind them. And in P4, Ziggy has started to pull away from Joe again.
Yeah, those the advantage of the soft tyres there really helping Ziggy after that mistake. But interestingly enough, Coach hasn't come into the pits yet. He has come around the final corner now, so we might see him pit here. He has pulled over to the right hand side, but Gary is only just about going through the final sector here with the curbs and the turns, so it might be a quick stop and dash for Coach here. We'll see where Gary does come out, but Coach is going to put himself in an amazing position here if he can put maybe a set of softs or mediums on and challenge for the win here.
Yeah, he's only going to have to take on minimal amount of fuel as well, as Coach.
He's coming out. He's coming out.
Here comes Gary.
He's kept the lead. He's kept the lead.
He has, and he has gone to the softs. So he is clearly making a shot at the fastest lap. But he's going to also have to be very careful. This track, we have seen drivers on medium tyres only last 6 laps. He's got that to do on softs. So Coach, he is well known for being very good with tyres. Look back to season 2, that's all I'll say on that. He's going to have to be careful, but surely he's got enough pace and skill just to hold back the hordes behind him of Gary and Killstreet.
I was going to say he might have played an absolute blinder here with his strategy, and obviously unfortunately getting caught up in a few first part of the race dramas, but he's kept it quiet for the middle part, and he's come alive for the final part, which is just what you need around a track like this, which has thrown probably literally everything at him. So if he can keep those softs alive right into the end, he could be in a very good shot here of winning the race. But obviously he'll be looking in his mirrors to see if that GTR of Gary and the Lexus of Druid is going to get closer to him, or if they're going to stay where they are. But like you say, it looks like Ziggy has created that gap between himself and Joe at the moment. I think, if Ziggy can finish P4, I think you'd be pretty happy with that, especially obviously after the dramas that he's had during the race.
Yeah, you can very rarely say after 2 spins I still finished just off the podium, and Gary can very rarely say after 3 hits of damage and basically running 1/4 of a mile down the grass in the final corner, still finishing P2. So well done there, but it does look like Druid lost a fair bit of time to Gary on that one, about a second and a half. Interesting. But we are seeing the top 5 just outside the same straight as each other, so a very competitive drive here in the blue lobby from particularly the top 5, with Lyle just on the outskirts of those 5. So particularly well done to the top 6 here today. For P7 Phil, it's kind of a story of what could have been today. Very, very quick. Just unfortunately having the Ferrari either snap on him into the same corner a couple of times, and just a little bit of bad luck and damage. But what's your bet to what time Coach sets on this lap? I'm going to bet it's a 35.8 if he can get the fastest lap off Ziggy.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to be definitely in the 35s. By how much? Because that is quite a lap by Ziggy earlier. Coach isn't going
It's not purple. It's really showing what pace Ziggy had on those soft tyres then.
Yeah, Ziggy was flying earlier when he was on the soft tyres. I mean, obviously, Coach has still got life in those soft tyres. Maybe when the fuel comes down just a little bit more, we'll see the purple lap times creep in. But at the moment, Ziggy still with the fastest lap in those extra points.
Yep, the only managed to 36.4, say only. That is still 2.5 seconds faster than a lot of the drivers out there at the moment. So Coach the fastest man on track, but that is really showing what pace Ziggy had earlier on. It's going to be, again, a little bit of tale of what if for the Zigster. But that said, there's a lot to be proud for in this one, and I think that for a lot of the drivers here today.
Yeah, I think all the drivers should be pretty proud of themselves, because this race has thrown, obviously the biggest challenge of all was the tyres, because you've got the fuel but you ain't got the tyres underneath you. You lose grip pretty quickly, and we all know as drivers, when your tyres fall off of a cliff, the car becomes basically undrivable. So drivers have had to deal with that challenge around a track that's, you know, known for its difficult nature. So I'm sure drivers will be glad to see the back of this track for a little bit.
Yeah, it's not one that is loved by many people, but it does provide a certain challenge and some... Well, you either rise to it or you run away crying. At the moment, I'm fairly sure some people are doing both. That's besides the point. But Coach, it does look like he is threatening that top lap, but at very least, I think he's going to get close to matching it. But I think Ziggy's got the extra few points for the faster lap. Let's see what Coach does across the line. He's done it. 35.9. He did take it. So that second flying lap was that's the one that did it. So he's going to be very happy with himself. He has stolen that 3 points off Ziggy, but there is still... I
think Simon as well, maybe helping him with a little bit of slipstream there.
True.
Maybe a distant slipstream, but just enough.
True. But here's a question for you, Sarah. Anyone out there that would be tempted to do a late pit stop and go for those extra 3 points if they've got a gap? I mean, you can say Gary, Drew, and Ziggy cannot do that. Joe could. He's got enough of a gap. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have enough of a gap to Lyle. Lyle is starting to reel him in, actually. He's caught 2 seconds on the final lap. So the only one who could is Lyle or Phil in the say the top 7. But even then, would they? I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
If they're going to do it,
I don't think anyone's going to go for it.
If it's going to be done, it's got to be this or next lap.
Yeah, obviously, like we saw there, Coach needed that out lap and one flying lap to really kind of get used to the softs on that Supra. So we'll see what happens. But Gary is still holding off Druid at the moment, but this battle is getting closer and closer as the lap count creeps down.
Do you know what, Sarah? I don't think Gary's going to make it. Those tyres are not looking good.
Yeah, they're not looking in the best shape ever. And I'm sure Druid will kind of knows that. He's reeling him in a little bit, but obviously you can see the 4C in his mirrors as well. So like I said earlier, the Druid is like the meat in the sandwich, but he's trying to get himself out of it and into that P2 position. You can already kind of see that the grip level on that GTR is forcing Gary to go seek a little bit of a wider line. Saying that though, Druid does get on the grass there, which might have lost him a little bit of momentum. And is that a back marker that I see just in front of Gary? I can't quite see who it is. I think it might be Murph. Oh no, it is Simon.
In this case,
it is Simon. And in front of that, we've got Damo as well. So this little pack here will be aware that they're catching up to some back markers, but hopefully won't hold them up too much. But Druid is really, really close to Gary here, trying to force him into a mistake into this chicane-like corner here. Yep. Druid on the power now, a little bit later than Gary, and that has brought Ziggy right on the bumper of that Lexus. So a little bit of a poorer exit for Druid. Druid climbing onto the inside, going back onto the outside.
Ziggy touched the grass and he just understeered straight off.
Do you know what I think that was? Unfortunately, maybe a bit of hesitation from Druid. Druid went one side, Ziggy was going to the other, and then unfortunately Druid just came over and almost sideswiped Ziggy, which obviously meant that Ziggy run out of road and was forced onto the grass.
That is unfortunate. That might be one for the stewards later on. Well, I'll say later on, said in a few laps' time. But we do have Druid at the moment, who has actually gotten past Gary in that moment as well as getting past Druid, Damo into the first corner, lapping Damo.
I was going to say, good Druid got very close to Damo. If I was Damo there, I'd be kind of shrieking, as I thought Druid may have traded a bit of paintwork with Damo there.
Yeah, quite right. But entering in the penultimate lap, we do have Coach in the commanding lead, Druid up to P2, Gary P3, Ziggy in a damaged wounded 4C in P4, Joe in P5, and Lyle in P6 for the top 6. So it does look like this is probably how they're going to finish, because I don't see how Gary can come back at Druid with those tyres, and Ziggy is going to be nursing that Alfa Romeo home.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, Sturdy has come out of the pits again. He's circulating again in P13, so wanting a bit of the racing action again. But yeah, like you say, I mean, Sparky and Murph are pretty close to each other, so that might be a little bit of a change of position. But apart from that, I think everyone might finish how they are at the moment. And saying that, Nisbet getting almost attached to the barrier there. Doesn't lose him too much time, but yeah, I think everyone's had a pretty interesting.
Looks like Lyle finally picked up some damage.
Oh.
That's unfortunate in the final couple of laps, but he's got enough of a gap to fill to hold him back. But yeah, DJ inside from Sparky with Murphy, the battle on track at the moment. But with Coach, he's going to be on to his final lap already and looking to put another lap on the American driver of Sturdy, who has rejoined the track.
Yeah, I'm sure Coach will be glad to know that this is his final lap. He's managed to look after those softs pretty well, in my opinion. Like I said earlier, some drivers struggling to go for 6 laps on the softs. Coach showing that him and the Supra are very capable of doing it, and he's played a blinder here. Towards the first half of the race, he was kind of towards the mid pack, maybe a little bit further back than what he wanted, and obviously with a good strategy and a fair few mistakes from some of the other drivers around him, he's on for the win here.
He is indeed. With only a couple of corners left to go, he's just got to bring it home, not turn the Supra too sharply, get any weird oversteer moments, and it is guaranteed for him probably at this point. Enough fuel, enough tyres, 1 corner to go. That is going to be a well-earned victory for Coach in the Blue Lobby feature race, Season 5, Round 5, takes the checker flag. Despite a bit of an issue midway through the race, he has shown strategic greatness and brought home the victory. P2, Chaos Druid, P2 on the road. P3 is T50. Gary's going to be very happy with himself. Almost a photo finish. We've got Ziggy P4, Joe in P5. And we then have Lyle P6, who has had a quite understated race, but done very well. Sarah, P7 for Phil, quite well earned, I feel.
Yeah, obviously having quite a few crashes in the same corner. That Ferrari not liking that corner, but he got it into P7 and he should be pretty happy with that. Some all point scoring positions. Oh, it looks like Cypher and Sparky there were trading some paint. Maybe again one for the stewards to look at afterwards, but just goes to show it's down to the wire between these two. Sparky with a half-second penalty, so this I believe is where they're gonna finish on the road. Sparky getting a bit of grass there, but as we join Cypher in P8 coming around the final corner, we've got then Sparky in P9. After that coming together, he's just about to serve his penalty just before he finishes the race. 2-second penalty. That obviously he did jump over the corners a few bits there, but a 2-second penalty, that seems harsh. But Murph coming around, he is the last finisher on the road in P10. Only one lap down, but then we have Damo P11, Simon P12, and then the last finisher of Sturdy Motorsport in P13.
Well, that was quite an interesting feature race there, Sarah. With a lot of action all the way through, and I think, very credible victory earned for Coach there.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Like I said earlier, played a blinder, kind of maybe had an understated first stint, but then changed up in the second stint, and I think he thoroughly deserves the win. He kept everyone on their toes, and goes to show, even if you do have that first stint maybe doesn't go 100% your way, don't give up, because anything can happen. Drivers around you might make a few mistakes, or might have a slightly different strategy that plays into your hands, and Coach showed that, that can happen. But I think obviously everyone else as well, Druid, Gary, Ziggy, Nisbet as well, they had really good races, and obviously Lyle coming off very fresh from the sprint race win, he's picked up some really good points here as well. And everyone else maybe not finishing as high as they maybe want to, but obviously this track, it is very difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely a track that's tested all of our drivers here today, and it's going to be one which some of them aren't going to want to see again for a while. But,
don't blame them.
Yeah, exactly. With that in mind, a quick rundown of the final results. Coach taking P1 on the road by over 10 seconds to Druid. He earned that, but Druid was given a 5-second penalty for the incidents on the track. He was demoted to third place. Still a podium, but what could have been a little bit for Druid, but that will promote Gary up into P3, and he's going to be very happy with himself on that one. So Gary up into P2 from P3, and Ziggy will retain P4 despite his best efforts to face the wrong way a couple of times. He's going to be quite happy that he got a good result out today despite the issues. Joe Nisbet P5, again very happy off the back of a victory in the high speed ring. He's going to be happy to be racking up some points. Lyle P6 with a 2-second penalty for an incident during the race, but hasn't affected his position. T50 Phil in 7th, Dejan Cypher in 8th with a 5-second penalty, but will not affect his position. Sparky P9, Murph P10 again with a 2-second penalty, but clear of anyone else. And then Damo in 11th, Simon in 12th, and Sturdy in 13th, who we believe picked up a penalty for not using the correct tyres at the start of the race, but he had a bit of a break in the middle of the race, so it's not going to affect his position. But good race all round there, Sarah. A couple of little incidents, but it's to be expected on a track like this with severe tyre wear and lots of twists and turns and big braking points as well. So good to the drivers to see a lot of fair racing out there as well.
Yeah, and I think obviously a lot of the drivers can then use the experience of this track going into some of the more difficult tracks now into the second half of the season that we've got coming up. So although obviously it's maybe a difficult midpoint of the season, they can use all the experience of this difficult track going into the likes of Tokyo or Topolis, which kind of share, I guess, very similar characteristics in a way, but obviously the flip side, that Tokyo is going to be more of a fuel race than a tyre race. But it's experience at the end of the day. I think a lot of the drivers will kind of take it on the chin, maybe if they didn't finish as high as they wanted, and they'll refresh and re-go for Tokyo. But I could see a lot of the drivers using this race to help their second half of the season performances.
Yeah, quite right. I think that leads us on to the very next and most important question. Driver of the day.
Ooh.
I think there's an argument to be made for quite a few drivers here. Just to state things quite quickly, Lyle with the sprint win, Gary with a double podium, Druid with a double podium, Coach with a very, very solid win, Ziggy with a lot of great moments in the races. Who would take your vote?
Oh, it's a difficult one. There's a lot of people that I could definitely award it to. I'm finding it difficult to pick one. I feel like for me, the double podium of Druid and Gary is definitely, the two could share it, because they've shown even with a bit of damage that you can still get a podium. Maybe leaning more towards Gary.
I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what I was thinking. Gary with the sprint third place, and in the end the P2 on post stewarding for the feature race, and a very clean race, and being very competitive despite damage. Yeah, to me it's got to go to Gary. So would you be happy to agree with that?
Yes, I'd be very happy to agree with you. For once, we don't agree very often.
It is
joking.
True. It is true. And at the very least, a shout out to Druid for what was a very, very solid race from him as well. Pair of races, to be absolutely fair. With that in mind, sir, I think that is an end for the blue lobby here today. I think we should hand over to the red lobby and see what shenanigans they get up to.
Yeah, let's see if they can provide us with even more racing action, and maybe another close finish.
And with that in mind, thank you all for watching. Enjoy the red lobby coming up. Well done to all the blue lobby drivers here at Yamigiwa.
So here are the qualifying results for round 5 here at Yamigiwa Reverse, and it's quite an interesting one from what you can see already. In P1, in prime position, we have Dark Lord setting his time on the softs with a 1:33.7. Obviously this track's quite high tyre wear again, so let's see how long Dark Lord can stay out on those softs. In P2, and stupidly but impressively fast, we have Katie the Kai setting his time on hard tyres, if you can believe that, with a 1:34.1, only about 3/4 tenths off of Louis' time, which was on the softs. And obviously, like I say, high tyre wear track, he's going to be stupidly quick on those hards. But in P3, we have Sophia setting her time on the mediums, so obviously top 3 going for different tyres, not one that we've seen happen before, so I'm excited to see how those top 3 get on. She set a time of a 1:34.2. In P4, we have Wise Fodderboy on the mediums with a 1:34.6. In P5, we have a very own co-founder, Midnight ISO, setting his time on the mediums with a 1:34.8. And Kirk P6 setting the time on the softs, so maybe potentially looking for a very quick getaway. He set his time of a 1:34.865. Not too far behind Midnight, but in P7 we have Charlie in the BMW setting a time on hard tyres with a 1:35.0.
And then in P8 we have Sophie in the R8, P8 on 1:35.6. Nearly rhymed, nearly went with it. And then in P9 we have Giles in the Lamborghini on a 1:35.2, also on medium tyres. P10 we have Nigel Mansnell, medium tyres again, 1:36, dead. Then Mercedes P11, hard tyres, 1:36.2. Koulios in that McLaren, 1:37, dead on the medium tyres also. And then we have Sarah Hawkey, one and a half of our co-founders for the championship. P11, 1 minute 38.7. And then Iceman in at Genesis, 1 minute 39.1. Now, Sarah, I think we need to address the elephant in the room on this one. Katie Nakai. What an outstanding lap. Hard tyres only 3.5 tenths off pole position, which was set with soft tyres via our Season 4 champion. That is absolutely outstanding, like you said. He is definitely going to be one to watch and possibly even a clear favourite for today, pending on what his tyre wear will do in this race.
Yeah, potentially. Like I say, obviously the top three are going for very different tyres, very different strategies, but Katie the car obviously being on the hards, will that play into his favour? Can he last a little bit longer, and can he get a little bit of clean air, and maybe potentially get a little bit of a run on Sophia and Dark Lord? We shall see. But the top three especially, we know how quick they are, but will Yamigiwa throw some challenges their way? Quite right.
And one thing we have to say as well is there may be a little bit of a delay with hard tyres and getting them warmed up to temperature. So Katie the Kite will have to play around with that. And another factor we spotted during the sprint race is pit stops are quite quick around Yamigiwa. So we might see multi-stops being just as fast as a set of hard tyres all the way through. So we're going to be left guessing. But to keep an eye on a couple of drivers there, you got to say Katie the Kai, Charlie and Mercedes, particularly all on hard tyres for the start. You're going to have to say it's going to perhaps come to them as long as they can get the tyre management and the tyre warming correctly warmed up. And with that in mind, I think it's over to the commentators. See what action the Red Lobby grid start will bring us today for this feature race.
Welcome back, everybody, for the feature race here at Yamigiwa Reverse. It's going to be 5 red lights ahead of the drivers. Dark Lord starting in P1, Kai in P2. It's lights out, and away we go here in Kyoto. We're going to be getting a good start from the Mclaren 650S. He's going to cut across Kai to cover off that inside line, but Sophia's going to be trying to go around the outside here of the Mclaren, but she's not going to get it done. It's going to be, oh, there's a spin in the background actually from Kirk.
Big trouble!
Chaos. Kirk and Giles involved in an incident there, dropping down to 12th and 13th, unfortunately, for those two drivers. Up at the front, it's still Dark Lord, Sophia, Kai, Fada, Midnight in the top 5. As we see, there's not many moves happening so far through the field. I think the field getting a bit elongated because of that incident in turn 1 between Kirk and Giles. We're heading now down the straight through this nice flowing S's section. The first of those on the track as we head into this nice quick left-right-hander. See if anybody picks up a 0.5 second penalty on the first lap. Is Sophia now trying around the outside of Dark Lord. This is the mediums versus the soft tires. You think Dark Lord would be propelling ahead, but Sophia really giving a run for his money on those medium tires. Dark Lord going to stay ahead though as they head out of that nice long right-hander. Kai's dropped back a small bit in that GTR. Looking further back, Midnight is slightly defending from Charlie, who's closing up to the back of him into the Estes section. But apart from that, not much else happening. Sophia is almost pushing Dark Lord through that final corner, right on that rear right quarter panel, and we'll see if she can get a good exit onto the start-finish straight. And that was lap 1. That was an interesting lap 1, certainly. A bit of chaos on turn 1 and some overtakes throughout the field.
Yeah, update to that little lap 1. It just seemed like everyone was funneling to that one line on the exit of that hairpin, and unfortunately 3-4 cars into one do not go. So that's what happened to both Giles and Kirk. I didn't catch what happened to Nigel, who ended up behind both of them. But it looks like both the cars that did spin have recovered rather nicely. Giles is right now 11th, battling for 10th. Kirk's right now up to 8th. And although, that being said, he's got company. Mercedes in the number 50 GTR is very much wanting to keep him engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. As we now get onto this second lap of the race, they're almost halfway through here now as Sarah and Giles
that was
side by
a big
side.
set. Oh, that was too big of a set. They both cut the corner. It's a little early to be doing this, guys. Save it for the last lap, will ya?
Oh, someone off there. Dark Lord's after heading off the track up at the front.
Whoa!
Dark Lord's into P4 now. What's after happening there? He was wide in the fast right-hander. Was there contact? Did he go wide? Did he touch the grass? The soft tires don't seem to be working on that 650S, as now the other 650S of Midnight is right behind him on the medium tires, and we'll see now if he can get a launch out of this final turn. Charlie's wide.
It's Sophia. No, not Sophia. It's Sophie. God, that's confusing for me. Has gone wide as well. I tell you what, once you do get wide there, it's a little hard to get off of that elevated pavement there. And
yeah, I mean, the only other track that comes to mind that has that kind of concrete is Paul Ricard, and that concrete is actually very grippy. In fact, it's so grippy it shreds the tires. Sophia has had a bit of a detour off the track, kicking up a bit of grass, but doesn't lose her too much time. But Kai has closed up a small bit here, up in first and second, and Sophie and Kirk are also having a battle there in the back. But Kai also touching the grass now on the exit. But Sophia, I don't know what happened there. She had a bit of snap of oversteer into turn 3 and 4, or sorry, turn 2 and 3, and caused her to go wide onto the grass on the exit. As further back, we see Sarah Hockey with a 5-10 penalty, trying to go and squeeze her nose down the inside of the other Lamborghini driver, Giles.
1.5 seconds to the leader of Sophia in the Mercedes AMG. I think she cut the downhill section. She's hit the wall. Same thing that Dark Lord did. Thankfully, no damage, much like the number 6 McLaren. But because that penalty zone's right on the front stretch, whoa! She's pushing too hard. It's lap 3, Sophia. Calm it down. You've got 2 seconds worth of penalties. And that's going to open the door. Just swing the door open, may as well. Screw the battering ram. That's going to be the lead for Kai. And, well, Fodder was not close enough to take advantage of that, unfortunately for him. But, man, that is absolutely brutal for the car that has pretty much been one of the fastest all day.
Double it and give it to the next person. That's what I did right there. But yeah, no, that unfortunately does drop Sophia down in the second, but we'll have to see if she can claw that advantage back. Of course, Kai was kind of catching up to her, but it was kind of a bit of a stalemate for that. As we look now down towards the back, there's a bit of a battle here occurring between Mercedes and Sophie, although damage to the rear of that GTR. I wonder what's happening there.
There's damage to the front
Sophie's
of
front
the
end
Audi.
as well. So
yeah, I think they've had contact somewhere along the way, and I'm not sure if the contact was how Sophie got in front of Mercedes, but either way, both those cars are running damaged, and that's going to be... Oh, someone's lost it in the chicane. It's Nigel. The same way he did in the sprint. He's hit the wall with the right front, and that's big-time damage for the number 55 Ferrari.
Very unfortunate. It seems, that Ferrari doesn't seem to be very stable into that section. And we see it again as Sophia has another penalty. Didn't double it this time, but yeah, 0.5 second penalty. That's going to be served on the straight, which isn't going to help her chances of catching up to Kai. So Fodder might fancy his chances here, although he's under pressure from Dark Lord now as well. You can see there's going to be a bit of a three-way battle here, maybe form within the next lap or so, as they're all very close to each other.
Kurt's come in. The right front, he started on softs. The left front is gone. So after 4 laps, the Genesis has torn that set of Michelin pilots through the canvas. No fuel needed. He's going straight to the hards.
Wow, that's a shocker. I mean, Dark Lord is on the softs as well, and he's currently got about half wear on his front left. So yeah, just goes to show. I mean, I said earlier in the program that the 650S is very good on its tires. We saw Midnight conserving a lot in the sprint race, and Dark Lord doing the same here. And you see it's definitely paying dividends. He's able to stay on those tires for longer. And Kirk just absolutely shredding that front left, as Nigel's also, after coming into the pits, to repair the damage. And unfortunately, 0.5 penalty for him as well after cutting the track.
Kirk, hold on to it! He almost had a spin trying to follow Iceman. He held on to it, though. He's not having a great lap here. Up front, though, looks like everything's sort of evened out 1st through 6th. So that'll give everyone a little bit of an opportunity to take a breather, save the tires.
We look
We'll
now.
say, though. We'll say, though. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, you would say, go on and go ahead.
I was about to say, the battle for 7th has not exactly cooled off yet, because it's almost a 3-car battle. The 99 of Giles, recovering from his spin, he's getting closer and closer to the back bumper of Mercedes' GTR. And I think we'll be seeing a move from him maybe in the next couple corners, if not right now. He's looking! There's a bump! Nope, not enough of a bump. He's still behind the 50.
Because I think we might see Dark Lord come in this lap. His front left ain't looking too good. He's got not a lot of tyre left. He might come in this lap or next lap. Depends how much he can carry that tyre throughout the rest. But you see Midnight is catching up to the back of him. So I'd say maybe might come in this lap just to stop Midnight from overtaking. Or he can hold him up if he wants. Depends. It's up to him.
I don't think that set of Firehawks is going any farther than that. It probably would be in Dark Lord's best interest to pit now. Maybe go on to the mediums and see how long that'll go. But considering Kirk has made work of Iceman, maybe the hard tires is the play. Actually, I'm just picking up. Iceman's picked up damage for himself. So along the way, he's hit the wall. It's on the left front. I don't know if he's got that damage. Maybe on the exit of the S's? Or perhaps the exit of the carousel here that he's passing through right now?
Dark Lord's coming to the pits. You can see that front left's completely gone there. There's just a small bit of percentage left. You can see there's a small sliver of usable tire left in the top, on the front left, bottom left of your screen.
And
So
moving
he's
back
coming
up
in,
front.
Only coming for tires, I think. I don't think he put any fuel in the car. Just tires. So
That is correct.
interesting
He's put
start.
on
He was
another
back
set
on
of
the start.
softs. He's put on
Yeah.
another set of softs, so I guess he's taking the Road Atlanta approach. Just take softs and just go as fast as possible.
Interesting. We'll have to see if that pays off for him. I mean, as I mentioned, 650S looks fairly good with those tires, so maybe that might be the strategy. Although, you know, if he only came in on lap 7 on the soft tires, I mean, if you do the math very quickly, it's going to be another 3 or 4 times he's going to have to come into the pit lane with the soft at the rate he's running him. Obviously not including a medium stint or a hard stint, depends what tire he puts on, but might not be very feasible.
Sophia's just tagged the wall.
Yeah.
Sophia tagged the wall in chase of Kai. I was about to bring up that the battle for the lead's been heating up. G's on a medium tire, wearing a little quicker than Kai's set of hards. I am very curious to see whether or not Sophia's going to be able to make the pass before she has to come in, but also when she's going to have to come in. The 6.2 V8 in that Mercedes definitely weighs down on the front of that car, and it chews up those front tires.
Just want to mention, Midnight obviously has been freed from the dirty air of a Dark Lord when he was in front of him, but that hasn't really helped much because Charlie is catching up to the back of him. Hards versus the mediums, that BMW is looking quite rapid. We saw him do very well in the sprint race, and he's carrying that momentum into the feature right now. You see right on the, within about, I'd say 4 or 5 tenths of that McLaren, and I would not be surprised if there's a move coming here soon from the BMW driver.
Meanwhile, much like in the sprint, the R8 Lamborghini platform twins are battling it out. There's door banging. That's rather aggressive there, Giles. There's a car there. So Sophie does get the move on Giles. Still with that front end damage. They both have equal tire wear, so they're pushing about the same and probably dealing with the same type of handling. And I think Giles is going to try a counterattack. Not close enough.
Unfortunately, it looks like Charlie might not have that battle at Midnight as soon as I expected, because he got a 1.5 second penalty, similar way that Sophia got it previously when battling with Kai. Into the chicane, cut too much, and you definitely pay the price for that with a 1.5 second penalty. So he's going to drop right back off the bumper of Midnight. As you can see, Sophie and Giles still very close together on track, although very menacing 650S on fresh tires. You can see it in the background. Dark Lord going to the S's right now as Sophia comes into the pit lane off mediums.
Yep, I figured that pit stop was coming soon. That left front tire was not doing very well, and that's gonna drop her. Depending on how much fuel she takes, that's gonna put her behind this group of cars, battling very intensely. That's gonna be problematic. Actually, she might be behind another set of cars battling hard. It's Kirk and Sarah. So two Nighthawk members have it at it. Nope, she gets ahead of both of them. So that's one less battle she'll have to deal with going through the field. I must say, Sarah's had a very quiet race. She's not had any damage. She's not had any spins. The red lobby's not normally where she ends up, but she's been doing a very good job this season. Oh, has something happened? Nope. Actually, yes, something has happened up front. The Dark Lord's gone through Giles. He's trying to make it through Sophie. Big defense. Absolutely doing her best Berlin Wall impression. Has not let that number 6 with fresh tires go. Oh, someone's gone around. It's Mercedes. And it's a big one in the middle of the straightaway up the hill. And that is big damage for the number 50. It's a big tire rub on that number 50 car. So that car is absolutely demolished.
I've never seen the likes of that before. That was very strange. You saw that tire smoking for quite a while. It definitely would have done a lot of good for that tire. I'm not sure what happened there. I've never seen a tire up like that in Gran Turismo, so it was a fairly hefty hit. I didn't catch what happened, but yeah, big hit for the GTR. Sophie and Giles battling side by side.
I just caught Sarah having a moment in front of Mercedes that almost became a multi-car crash. And Sophie and Charles, what are you guys? That is big contact between the both of them. I imagine the stewards room are going to be in the ear, both pit walls here. Tell them to cool it down, because these two, well, there's rubbing and racing, and then there's what these guys are doing. It's lap 10, and they're treating this like Ambrose Keselowski on the last lap.
It's like Demo Derby out here right now with these two. Good, harsh racing. Wouldn't say hard racing, we say harsh racing, because yeah, there's a good bit of paint being traded between the two of those. I'd say they both be the same color soon enough if they keep at it at this rate. But yeah, it looks like I just want to mention as well about Charlie. He's got another 1 second penalty, so he's definitely going to drop further behind Midnight than expected. Of course, he got the 1.5 second penalty and now a 1 second, so not going to be helping his chances further throughout the field. Just looking right now, it looks like Sarah, of course, was able to get ahead of Mercedes because Mercedes came out into the pit lane to repair that damage and went onto the hard tires. So he was out of her way fairly soon after you saw that little moment between the two of them. But yeah, kind of cooling down a small bit now. Giles has dropped behind Sophia by a bit. So looks like people pretty spread out on the track for now. That's about the
I don't think so. He's made a good run out of that final corner. We might see a resumption of hostilities here. He's looking. He's sending it down the inside. There's a little bit of contact at the end. He makes the move stick, though. And Sophie, hold on to it. Whew. Okay. Please tell me now those two could calm down a little and save the tires. Because God knows those left rear tires need it.
It was a good bit cleaner that time. There was a small bit of tire rubbing, but a lot cleaner than what we saw before. And yeah, it was a matter of time before Sophie was overtaken, of course, carrying that front end damage from whatever happened between, I think it was her and Mercedes, wasn't it? That got the damage on Mercedes got damage on his rear wing, and Sophie with the damage on the front end of the car. So yeah, matter of time before she got overtaken, just because with that front end damage, it limits your straight line speed and your grip in the corners. So it would definitely been struggling alongside those pretty worn medium tires that both are carrying on the car. But that was about the closest battle that we had on track right now, excluding Midnight and Fodder, who've just caught up to each other in this recent few laps. You can see Midnight is absolutely hanging around the outside because Fodder's front left is nearly dead, and Fodder will probably be coming into the pit lane. He's coming in. Soon enough. He's coming into the pits. And yeah,
that pit crew's been mobilized. That left front, he about took that one down to the canvas too. So that'll be 4 new fresh Goodyear Eagles on that Porsche. Not bad work by Fodder. He's been able to keep himself in a good position all race. Of course, now he'll be dropping back a little as he's getting fuel. Curious to know what tire he'll be coming out on. And I think the 6th car, Dark Lord, his crew are being mobilized as well. They're getting the tires ready on his in his box, because those soft tires ain't gonna do another lap.
Yeah, we've got a good bit of convergence here. We got a lot of different strategies, but a lot of them are converging on a pit window within the next few laps, I'd say, because we've got some of the medium tire runners, such as Midnight, who have been carrying them since the start of the race. They're going to be coming in. We've got hard tire runners such as Kai, who have very worn tires up in front, that will also be coming in. And then we've got people like Dark Lord, who are running the softs on a second stop, who are going to be coming in soon enough as well. So yeah, a good few alternate strategies converging upon around lap 13, lap 14, or even this lap as well. I'd say Dark Lord might be this lap, but some of the other drivers will try and carry that for another few laps, I'd say, and then come into the pit lane to make their first or second stop. Some of them, such as Dark Lord, on the second stop of the race already up in fourth
Someone
position.
who has also just made their second stop, it's Iceman. He's picked up front end damage again. So immediately after he had to make his first stop, he's come in. And as I speak about that, Midnight's come in from second place. Charlie stays out another lap. And the 6 car's gotta come in. He's gotta come in. It's down to the canvas again. You can't go another lap without sacrificing time. Giles is coming. Sophia's, great. Both of them have come in at the same time. And, well, Giles might have the upper hand here, depending on how this pit stop goes, because he has a little more fuel in the tank. He doesn't have to spend as much time sitting in the pits while they refuel the car.
I was going to say, I was surprised that Midnight didn't run another lap on those tires, but it's very apparent why he didn't, because Sophia is nearly right behind him on track. I'd say about a second and a half between those two drivers, and I think maybe if he would have stayed out another lap, Sophia might have gotten the jump on the 650S drivers. So good thinking there from Midnight, just coming in a lap earlier, just to cover off from that undercut strategy that Sophia was running, who came in a few laps before him. As we've got a few drivers now that have made their pit stops. Kai's going to be doing this lap. You can see that front left is absolutely shredded. Those hard tires have seen better days, so he will be pit stopped this lap. I'd be very surprised if he can take that around another lap.
If he takes it around one more lap, he's not going to have a fender left. Thankfully, Cooler has prevailed there. He does come in. Now, is Charlie going to stay out one more, or is he going to try covering it off? Because his tires are in a little bit better shape than Kai's were when he came in. Yep, he'll be staying out one more, so he'll attempt to get as much advantage as he can in clean air.
Yeah, interesting. So we'll see now where Kai comes out in relation to some of the other drivers, of course. Midnight's dropped on a new set of softs, so I'd say, coming out behind Midnight and Sophia as well, will come out, I'd say, just about ahead of Kirk. Yes, will come out a good bit ahead of Kirk heading into turn 1 right now. Kai is, and Kirk is just in the middle of that start-finish straight. So Kai coming out on hard tires behind Sophia and Midnight, who are both on soft and hards respectively. So it'll be interesting to see if Kai can catch the AMG, because they're both on hards, with Sophia's tires being a few laps older, but she's carrying just a small bit less fuel than the GTR driver. But this is, I always say this nearly every single feature race, this is the stage of the race where everyone starts calming down a small bit. We got varying strategies across the grid right now. We've seen many of them converge within the last few laps, and now it's anyone's game to play, as we see some drivers who still have not made their pit stop. Charlie hasn't pitted yet, I believe. So, or no, he did.
Charlie. Charlie has not made a stop yet. He's been on this hard set of hards all the way through from the start of the race. What's interesting is I was right about Dark Lord. He is taking the Road Atlanta approach. He's on his 3rd set of sticker softs.
Wow.
I find it very interesting that he's just doing the all-out, go-fast method. of this race as he tries making the move on Kirk. A little bit of a risky way of doing it, but he makes it work. Kirk on a pretty rough set of hard tires. Pretty easy for the number 6 McLaren.
Yeah, that was a good overtake there. Although the only thing, like, Dark Lord's strategy sounds very interesting, but the only thing about it is, of course, if you get involved in an incident or anything, like, it's very easy when you're on one of these aggressive strategies. You're going to be battling a lot of drivers as you claw your way back up through the field each stint. It's very easy if you get into even just a minor scuffle to get damage and just ruin that soft stint. So he's got to be careful. I mean, that was a good overtake, but it was a bit risky, a bit of a risky game to play. But of course, the faster you get ahead of somebody, the more clean air you get. And of course, Dark Lord has got a nice bit of clean air ahead of him until he's on the back bumper of Kai. As Dark Lord sets a purple sector, of course, this is his second lap on the soft, so he's setting purple sectors. That's good news for him.
This is actually his third. He just set the fastest time in the race this last lap. So if there's one advantage to doing the Road Atlanta strategy, you're going to get by far the fastest time on the board, as again he goes faster. Battle brewing behind him though between Kirk and Fada. Now Fada's on a sticker set of mediums-ish. He's been out there for a couple laps by now. I don't think he'll have as much bravado as Dark Lord in these S's, because he's caught Kirk the same way. He's looking, nothing. So he chooses life a little bit as the leader, the number 46, has come in.
Charlie is coming in for his pit stop. He's getting off those hard tires. You can see that front left looking in a similar state that Kai's did when he pitted a few laps ago. That leaves Midnight to lead the field here in first position in that McLaren with Sophia not too far behind. Looks like Sophia couldn't catch up to Midnight after he made his pit stop. So yeah, it looks like now Kai is going to be trying to chase after Sophia, but nothing really being made there either. They're all a bit spread out on the track. Not many gains being made except for Dark Lord. I think Dark Lord might be catching Kai fairly fast.
Fada's right on the back of Kirk. He's right on the back bumper of that Genesis. He's counting how many LED bulbs are in that rain light. He's looking to the inside, thinks better of it. But I think we're going to be seeing a move here soon. Now he stiffs the nose up on the inside. Nothing able to come up with that one just yet, but I think that downhill chicane, I think we might see that Porsche either get by him or just hang there. Well, that's better than the other alternative, which was the weight balance of the Porsche absolutely stiffs him over and wrecks him, which we've seen a couple cars do that in the sprint. Thankfully, we haven't seen him do that in this race. But I imagine Fada's got to be getting a little hot under the collar, getting held up by Kirk, who has been tearing through his tires. I don't know if he's going to be doing another lap after this one.
Yeah, we'll see now. What happens? They're going through the S's and they're bumper to bumper nearly, like through the S's. Be surprised if Fada can't make a move. He's gonna try to go to the inside, but the problem with that, like trying to go to the inside in that last corner, is that you're gonna not get the best of runs onto the straight unless you back out, which he did back out. So he's gonna try take that outside line, but Kirk as you said, certainly is coming into the pit lane. So Kirk doing a fantastic job holding Fada up, and will probably help his strategy in the long term. But Fada won't be too happy with that. He would have wanted to clear that Genesis like Dark Lord did earlier in the race. But yeah, that leaves Fada into 5th position, but he's got a hefty gap to the 650S in front of him of Dark Lord now.
Now I'm just thinking aloud about what Kirk's strategy is going to look like, because he did 4 laps on the soft, and this stint on the hards was 12 laps long. He comes out on another set of hards, so next stop will be lap 28. I think Kirk's going to go hards to the end, knowing the wear rate of that Genesis. Hold on to it! You don't want to loop it now, not when you just got out of the pit lane and make everything harder on yourself, Kirk. It does take a bit for the hard tires to warm up. So, in his defense, those tires are probably still quite cold as he's gone out of the pit lane. Thankfully, he is keeping it in a straight line.
Oh, I'm pretty surprised right now. I'm just looking at the second and third position drivers here of Sophia and Kai, and they came out, I'd say, maybe like 2 laps
Midnight's in.
different on tires, and yeah, Midnight's into the pits off the soft tires. That leaves Sophia into the lead of the race. But Sophia and Sophia and Kai did not have much difference on those tires coming out of the pit lane. And you can see it looks like Sophia has been doing like donuts for about like 2 laps, because that front left is not looking nice on that AMG, and it's significantly worse than when they first both came out of the pit lane. So Kai is catching at a rate of knots here on the AMG driver. I'd say there'll definitely be a move soon enough, and Kai may get this first position very soon.
Yeah, as I said, that 6.2 in the front of the Mercedes, it seems a bit heavy sitting on the front axle there, which is why in the later front engine Corvette race cars, those would use a 5.5, so it's set behind the front axles, so you weren't wearing the tires nearly as much and getting a little bit of a better weight distribution. I don't think the engineers at Mercedes took that into account when they built this thing, as they get both leaders go by the 85 of Iceman. He's had a pretty rough race, all things considered. He's fallen a lap down. He's had to make multiple stops today just to fix damage. But back on the leaders here. Oh! She's hit the wall! Kai's hit the wall around! Oh my god! Both cars have damage, and this has split this race wide open. Sophia's hit the wall and exit of the S's, and Kai, trying to avoid her, hit the wall himself and has spun around. And now, look at this, Dark Lord's on a flat right left front. The entire top 3 are coming in. Fonda, I thought, was about to hit the wall at the exit of the last corner. He inherits the lead of this race. What absolutely insane 30 seconds that was.
What a turn of events, but this means now, what is everyone going to do with their strategy? I mean, we're seeing Sophia just pitting for tires, Kai is just pitting for tires, but Dark Lord has to pit for fuel. I was wondering if they'd try and pit for more fuel or something and see if Dark Lord could jump the 2 of them, but luckily Dark Lord had barely any fuel in his cars, so they're not under threat from him specifically. But this is a disaster, because now Giles is in between Kai and Sophia on the track, so Kai's chances of trying to overtake Sophia are pretty much gone if Giles holds him up for too long. So, I mean, Fada's in the lead of the race now, but, like, it's really hard to tell now what's going to happen, because obviously Fada's going to have to make a pit stop at some point, but how badly is this going to affect the strategies of the GTR and the AMG?
Well, I don't think it affected the AMG too much, as she gets herself another 1 second penalty. Gotta be careful with that chicane. I think that really messed up Kai's strategy, because he was on the hard tire and was looking pretty good to go at least into the 20s with that tire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I don't know what he's going to be doing. He's satisfied the medium tire requirement now, at least, but he's got another pit stop to do, and when that's going to happen, I really don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just completely turned this race upside down. And I mean, Kai coming off worse, unfortunately, not through any fault of his own, because Sophia hit the wall in front of him. We've seen that's a very high risk section of the track, as Kai is going to try go around the outside of Giles into turn 1, and he's going to get that job done easy on those new tires versus Giles' half-worn mediums. But yeah, no, I mean, through no fault of his own, losing a good chunk of time, and of course messing up his strategy more than it did for Sophia, because Sophia was not on the best of shaped tires. But yeah, I mean, that's very unfortunate for Kai, but it is a high-risk section, as I just mentioned. So, like, if someone does have an incident there, it doesn't turn out very well, as we've seen on the previous laps, especially in the first laps of the sprints. First lap of the sprint, we saw a few drivers having some pretty hefty hits into the wall. So unfortunately, that's just the way that the cookie crumbles. And yeah, it looks like Kai's going to be having to chase down the AMG once again.
Yeah, it didn't take nearly as long to get up to there because of that 1 second penalty at the 420 had the previous lap. So we're back to this again. Right within, I'd say, half a second, started to read the name on the back of that rear wing. It's a purple sector for the 181.
Just
That GTR is hauling.
I'm just keeping an eye on Dark Lord as well, who obviously came out and just went into the pits at the same time these guys. We didn't catch it because of all the chaos happening, but Dark Lord did go into the hard tires. So you were saying you were wondering what the strategy was, and a hard looks to be the second tire that he's going to use. He's used softs throughout the start of this race, and he's now into that hard tire. So I assume he's going to try to stay on that for as long as he can. Doubt it he'll make it at the end of the race. So it'll probably be a hard and then another soft for Dark Lord. But yeah, he's come out in 10th position compared to it was 2nd and 4th that the guys ahead came out of, because they were already had good fuel. Dark Lord had no fuel in his car. These guys had about 60% of fuel, so they could just kind of put on a set of tires and go, whereas Dark Lord had to put in a lot of fuel in that car. As we look back up to the front now, Fada currently leading. He's got a bit of life left in that front left. He may come in this lap, or he may choose to stay out another. I'd say he'd get another lap out of that front left. And yeah, we look to 2nd and 3rd now. Sophia in 2nd, currently driving out of those mirrors. She will be driving out of those mirrors soon once Kai gets closer to the rear wing of that AMG. But yeah, that was a bit of chaos. Just throwing in there for the crack. Just why not? We'll throw in a bit of leader chaos just to wake us up a small bit.
Yeah, instead of a Barcelona type race where the strategy's most key, now we've got some real intrigue going on. I will say though, the 181 Akai in that downhill chicane, he's been cutting it close. I think he's found the point where you can just get away with getting 2 wheels off the grid without getting penalized for it. And Sophia had a bad exit on the final S's, and that's let the GTR catch back up. So we're back at this again as we see, I think someone's had a moment. It's Sophie. Sophie's had a big moment out of the carousel. She's got damage on both front tires and both bumpers. Oh, that is absolutely brutal for the driver of the 714 Audi.
Talking about damage, it looks like Kai has made a big dent in the gap between him and
someone's
Sophia.
around! It's Sarah! Sarah's gone around on the corner up the hill, and she's got front end damage. Sorry to butt in there back. I just caught that on the map there. The number 9. I don't know what happened. I think she caught the grass, and I think it spit her back into the outside walls. What happened, and it spun her around and damaged the front end of that car. Well, I was saying she was keeping it clean today. Well, that's my fault. Sorry, Sarah.
It's a tough break for Sarah, but it's a tougher break for Sophia. She's gone wide into that fast left-right hander before the short straight, and it's let Kai straight past. She was getting a bit frustrated before that chicane, was flashing her lights at Iceman, who was trying to be lapped. There's someone round in one of those corners.
It's Iceman.
It's Iceman round, yeah. I think he might have went wide to try to let some people through, and I think he might have just went a bit too far into that concrete and lost grip.
Yeah, he's very lucky he didn't get any damage, but a bad race gone to worse for the driver of the number 85 Genesis.
Fada's coming into pit lane here as Kai kicks up some grass heading onto the straight. Kai now becomes the leader of the race, and Sophia following behind, but I think Kai will be driving off into the distance from the AMG driver, because it did look like Sophia was losing time to him through the last few laps before she made that mistake. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But further behind, we've got Giles, Midnight, and Charlie, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, looking like there might be something brewing here soon enough. Giles front left is going not too well compared to some of the guys behind him. You can see not a lot of life left on that tire. You see going to the inside line, taking a bit of a defensive line. Midnight, a bit far behind. I don't think Midnight was going to be making a move from there, but Giles covering off just in case. But Midnight's going to get a superior exit versus that Lamborghini. I'd say it'd be a matter of time before that Giles is overtaken.
Yeah, I think there's commotion in the 9-9 pit. Oh, Midnight, hold on to it. He holds on to it, thankfully, but that opens the door for Charlie to get to his inside, side by side, up the hill, into the carousel. I think Charlie might have just cleared him already. He has. So the 46 BMW, it's been a sneaky one. It's been a sneaky feature for him. He's up to a provisional P3 right now. And I think Giles might be smart to come in now, because you run one more lap, it's probably going down to the canvas. On top of that, he doesn't have a lot of fuel left in that Lamborghini. See what he does here. Out of the final corner. Making the beeline to the pit lane. So, I was right. The 99 was coming in soon. That frees up the battle for the podium here.
Yeah, Giles into the pits, going to come off those medium tires and put a bit of fuel in that car.
I think he might be going to the hards to the end. That might be the smart play here. You got 16 laps of fuel that you need. Hard tire might be able to get there if you take care of it well enough.
I'm sure we'll see what he puts onto soon enough, as we're just going to look around to see. The closest battle on track right now is Midnight and Charlie.
I'd actually say that's
Nigel and Sophie.
Nigel and Sophie.
Yeah, I was just going to say
that.
That's the battle for 10th. It looks like Sophie might be getting past the 458 soon enough.
Well, they're both on the medium tire. One's a couple laps older than the other. Both of these platforms have been very unstable today, as Mercedes has come out of the pit lane. Hard tire. No, medium tire. So, yeah, that's a risky one. Aside from the one spin very early in the race, I'd say Nigel's run a pretty clean race, all things considered. There's still a little bit of a ding in the front bumper. They weren't able to hammer that one out. I think Sophie might have made a little bit of contact with that 55 car. Nothing too rough, obviously, but just a little let you know I'm there. The crossover doesn't work for Sophie. She's trying, and very much trying, but still nothing to show for the effort.
Yeah, Sarah's coming to the pits, repairing some front end damage and getting off the medium tires. We still look at every battle on track here. Midnight hasn't been able to keep on the back of Charlie, so unfortunately nothing coming of the proximity to the BMW driver. And he's dropped a bit behind, and also in the battle between Nigel and Sophie, it's still very much on. Nigel, getting a bit hide away.
What a save! Good save, Nigel. Way to keep it together. Of course, that's let Sophie get right into the clutches again. And I wonder if we're going to see a move here into this first corner.
Yeah, Sophie's a lot closer than last time.
I just saw Nigel flash the hazards. I wonder if he might have had a little bit of help with that moment there. It might be either a sign of you're number one without sticking the finger out the window, or
managed to stay ahead, though.
did appreciate that. Yeah, and a little bit more contact as the number 420 Mercedes comes in. Another battle starting to heat up is Fada and Kirk once again. The two corners separated by a lap car for the time being. Looks like
I'll see where Sophia comes out in relation to those cars you were just talking about, because I think she'll be taking a good bit of fuel. If she's trying to go to the end, she's going to be taking a good bit of fuel here. She's still in the pit taking fuel.
Yeah, that's going to be about 14 laps worth. Meanwhile, the battle for second now is heating up. Midnight's caught right up to the BMW of Charlie.
Watch Sophia coming out of the pits here. She's going to come out right behind Fada. They were side by side coming out of the pits.
Still drifting that thing. I don't know if she had a little contact with Iceman there, but oh boy, I was getting a little worried. That was going to be a calamity out of the pit lane.
Yeah, it was very close as Sophia came out from probably her final pit stop, I think. I'd say with that amount of fuel on the hard tires, she probably won't be stopping again. 14 laps to go on the race, but they should be okay.
Yeah, she's going to the end. Fada, well, he's on a decent set of mediums, but I think he's going to have to pit one more time, because I don't think they're going to go to the end. That sets her up quite nicely. Kai's coming in. That tire's down to the canvas. So now we're going to see the main battle, be between Charlie and Midnight. A little wide there for the 46. Otherwise, all good. He did. Oh, someone's got around at the downhill. That would be Giles. He didn't hit anything though. Good on him there, but that's gonna be a problem for him. He was trying to chase down the Dark Lord in the number 6 McLaren.
I think it's gonna be another case of watch Kai come out of the pits here. It might be close again.
Yeah.
With this pack of cars, Kirk, Fada, and Sophia come behind. He's still fueling up. Oh, he might come out just ahead, I think. There's going to be a good difference in closing speed. He's coming out of the pit lane now. There's Kirk. He's just about going to get out ahead of the Genesis driver.
Yep, all clear. So that sets up Kai to be, well, the net leader once Midnight Charlie have to come in, because they're not going to be able to stay out another 13 laps.
Sophia got very sideways out of the exit of turn 1 there, kicking a good bit of grass. Managed to save it though, but it lost a bit of time to Fada. Just looking behind here, there's a battle brewing between Iceman and Sarah for 12th position. Be interesting to watch that as well. As we look back up this one, there is a good gaggle of cars, about 4 cars here from Kai to Sophia, all fighting for the same piece of racetrack. And still in front is Charlie Midnight.
I was about to say with Sarah, she's got fresh sticker tires versus Iceman, who's got very worn tires right now. He'll probably be in the next lap or two to swap his tires for a fresh one to go to the end.
And
Kirk having company again from Fada. He's tagged the wall again, and Fada to the outside in the S's. Well, I think Fada's got this one. Better choose life there, says Kirk. But of course, now he's got a 420 Mercedes breathing down his neck, right on the back bumper, counting the individual bulbs on that rain light. Actually, she might have been able to count the individual bulbs in the tail light. And she does not get ahead of him. He'll be coming in this time. He gives the signal to her. He'll be coming in this time, and he's going to let her go. So
interesting. Not choosing to fight that, though.
I think that's a smart idea here, because if you try fighting a car with fresher tires at this stage in the race, you risk having things go very wrong and lead to a spin or worse, a crash. And we know how aggressive Sophia is when she gets those sticker tires. So
do it for the crack. Do it for the crack. Why not?
Do it for the vine.
But yeah, it looks like Sarah managed to get ahead of Giles fairly easily. You saw it on the exit she came before we cut to that battle with Kirk, Sophia, and Fada. But now it's all quiet on the track. Of course, I'd say closest battle right now has to be Fada and Sophia.
Yeah, Fada and Sophia, and Charlie and Midnight for what is currently the lead.
Yeah, but I'd say Charlie has it fairly nailed down. He's on the hard tires. Midnight's tires, if anything, on those mediums are just going to get worse and worse. He's coming in. In fact, yeah, just I mentioned that he's coming into the pit lane. So
although I think that was more necessitated by fuel. He wasn't going to do another lap on that tank, so he's come in. Probably a set of hards to finish this thing out. Fada trying to take the defensive line on Sophia. Ooh, big wiggle for that Mercedes. That helps the number 23 Porsche a little bit for the time being, but not enough of a respite. She might send it down the inside here. Nope, thinks better of it. Gonna wait for a better opportunity. I don't blame her, because she's got the better tires versus that Porsche, which the tire life's about halfway through on that Porsche.
Now that Midnight's come out of the pit lane, it's going to be a battle between the two McLarens. Dark Lord is on worse off hards, and I'd say Dark Lord has another pit stop as well. So this is going to be an interesting battle to watch, because Dark Lord's going to have to pit soon enough for another set of softs. He's not going to be able to last with that much fuel and those
Sophia's
tires.
Got ahead of Fada, part of the interruption again. She's got ahead on the outside, so that frees her up to try chasing Kai down a little bit.
Yeah, so that's a very good overtake there from Sophia, managing to clear the Porsche, and will be hunting down Kai. Of course, no more pit stops for second and third right now. So it should be to the end of the race for those two, although our leader, Charlie, is going to have to pit soon enough.
Yep, those tires, yeah, I'd say this will be the last lap on them. We've hit 10 to go here. This is the last leg of the race.
I just want to point out, Kirk is going to have to come in sooner rather than later because he's got a very little fuel in that car.
Oh yeah, he's got to come in this time.
On fumes right now to the pits.
Yeah, no fuel, no tires. Bit of a no-brainer to come in now.
Yeah, I think he might just run out of fuel on the pit entrance, and yes, he does. He just about runs out as soon as he has to pit. 0% fuel left in that car. Very well timed from the Genesis driver. He's going to come in off those hard tires. As second and third not pitting again, and it will be the same for 6th position Midnight, who is still on the back of Dark Lord and has not been able to make a move so far.
You know something? I'm a little intrigued by the fact Sophia has not been able to quite shake Fada as much as she would want to. Both those cars are struggling for rear end grip, but Fada's been able to keep within worry distance, I'd say. 4th at number 420. It's very interesting to see how that's worked out as Sophia goes a little wide out of that back chicane. And I wonder now, looking at the battle for 5th, when's that move going to come between the Season 4 teammates of Midnight and Dark Lord? That dark red McLaren 650 trying to make something happen as we see Charlie does come in. The M6 is in. So, no surprise there. One last stop, 9 laps of fuel. Probably a set of mediums can go to the end from here.
Well, let's see where Charlie comes out in relation to Midnight now, because, of course, Midnight and Charlie were very close to each other on track. So, will he come out ahead of this Dark Lord Midnight battle? Because, of course, Midnight might have been held up by Dark Lord. He's on the slow tires. In fact, Midnight's nearly pushing him through the corner, I'd say. Heading out of the final turn. Charlie's just finished fueling now, and Charlie, it looks like he's going to come out ahead still. They're side by side, the two 650Ss on the straight, wheel to wheel as they head into turn 1.
I imagine Midnight's side intake on the left side. He's trying to do a crossover. They're still side by side. A little bit of a twist. They hold on. They're still side by side. The 6th, Dark Lord, manages to cut the nose off of Midnight. He's still ahead. But now we go through into this hairpin right at the beginning of Sector 2. Oh, we almost had a moment there. Midnight thinks a little bit better of it. He does a good job keeping it together. I have to imagine he's getting impatient by now. He has to be. There's a little bit of a bump, a little bit of a boop.
Yeah, I mean,
he's letting him know he's there.
Dark Lord cutting across there into that long right-hand hairpin, and just Midnight not really phased by it, shutting the door very aggressively as they're going to be side by side onto the straight now into this right-hander. Dark Lord's got the inside, there's a bit of smoke as they have a small bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. And yeah, Dark Lord's going to keep that 5th for now, but surely Midnight's going to get the run on the exit here.
Dark Lord's pushing the book here. The stewards, well, they can't do anything because he's giving Midnight the bare minimum he can as we cross to 8 to go.
Dark
for the leaders.
Dark Lord getting very sideways through the S's, but Midnight's going to charge off the inside and he's going to get the move done. And I think that's going to seal the deal. And Dark Lord, I'd say, might not be able to keep on the back of that McLaren for too much longer with those hard tires, those mediums. Very fast in Midnight's car, but just not fast enough to get that move done earlier.
No, he's still trying. He's trying everything. He's right on the diffuser of that McLaren. But nothing coming of it. Yeah, that's probably going to be battle over by the time we get through the 2nd sector. Tell you what, though, Sophia has managed to pick herself up a half-second penalty, and she has managed to get herself some breathing room from Fada. So I'd say net P3 right now belongs to Charlie, because he's got to come in. He's got to come in this time. There's no way that tire on the left front is going to be able to go one more lap.
Yeah, definitely. Fada will be coming into the pit soon enough. Now, he won't have to take that much fuel, so where he'll come out, we're not sure. I'd say he might just about come out behind Dark Lord on the track. He'll be a bit close, I'd say. Depends how much fuel he has to take in that Porsche.
I actually don't think he needs to take any fuel. Because I think when he pitted the last time, he took a full tank.
Yeah, that's true. He actually looks fairly good on fuel. He might be okay. That's a good spot.
Yeah, this is just going to be a swap for a new set of rubber.
Interesting.
So I think he might still be in contention for a podium. No, is he staying out?
Wow, that's an interesting one. I mean, like, to be fair, he's fairly safe when it comes to the pit stop anyways, because either he's going to come out ahead of somebody, or he's going to come out in that nice gap between Dark Lord and Giles. There's a nice gap that you can see. Dark Lord heading down the front stretch while Giles is just entering the last corner. So there's a nice gap there anyway. So he's fairly okay when it comes to, like, pit window. I mean, if he comes out ahead of someone, great. If he comes up behind Dark Lord, there's a nice long gap there. So he's not got much threat from
I'm wondering if the play here for Fonda is to stay out this lap. Yep. Bolt on a set of soft tires to go to the end, take advantage of the guys starting to run on aged hards. You know, such as Charlie, you know, he's running on mediums. Midnight, he's on a lap or two older tires. So that this might be a little bit of a 200 IQ play here for...
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting stuff. Sophia's after hitting the wall and getting front end damage.
Oh, no!
So, yeah.
Oh, and someone's gone into the fence. It's Sarah in the right at the beginning of the second sector. I think she's overcooked it, and she's got more damage. Oh, that's a tough break for the driver of the number 9 Lamborghini. But yeah, now the question is, what does Sophia do? Does she come in? Does she stay out with this damage?
Interesting stuff here. Fodda and Charlie were side by side, but Fodda took the inside line, and Charlie way too deep into the corner ended up going onto the runoff. So they were side by side on the exit when they really should have been.
Sophia's gone up again, and she got more damage. She's damaged both front wheels now. She's overcooked it into the first corner, I think, trying to lap Nigel. And it's resulted in significant damage to the front end of that Mercedes, which opens the door for Charlie to maybe get P2 here. And I think this is very much closing the door for anyone able to try mounting a truck win. Because Kai's managed to break away quite a good bit from that Mercedes-Benz.
Just as you say that, Kai ran onto the grass, but Sophia, yeah, getting big damage, and that Charlie is going to be right on the back of that AMG anytime soon. Just an update on Fodda as well. Fodda came out, I'd say, only 2 or 3 seconds behind Dark Lord, so he's definitely in contention here. You can see Dark Lord's hards are completely worn out. He might be staying out. I don't know if he's going to come into the pits for another soft. If he does, he might just about come out ahead of Giles. If he doesn't, he'll be behind him. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I don't know if that fuel will take him to the end. He might have to come in for another set of softs. So Fodda at least will be in 5th position if nothing else changes. But with Sophia's damage, we'll have to see if she can hold on to it for these next 5 laps.
Yeah, she won't need fuel if she comes in. If she decides to stay out, that's gonna be one hell of a handful. That car is not going to turn at all.
She does stay out.
Stays out, so all the better for Charlie to get a little bit more practice of racecraft. And as we look, Dark Lord thinking does come in. It does the reverse of what Fodda was trying to do at high speed ring. He was trying to bait him, I think, but no, I don't think it would have worked anyway with Fodda's soft tires. Dark Lord does come in. A little bit of a splash and go, I think. Yep, a little bit of a splash and go. Giles gets ahead, but not by a lot. He's on his hards, Giles is. It's a fresh set of softs for the defending champion.
Yeah, so
that'll be something to look out for.
Things cooling off a small bit. Looks like Sophia hasn't lost much time to Charlie since she had that off, so she might just about be able to hold on to it, but Charlie is charging behind on new mediums, so that front end damage is going to provide more wear to the front tires than if she didn't have damage. She hits the wall again.
Yep, and yeah, I'd say she's pushing a little too hard here. Because you push that hard on exit, you're bound to hit the wall there on the exit. So I imagine by the time that car has to go through a post-race tech inspection, the front end of that car is going to be about 2 inches narrower by the end of this thing.
Sarah and Sophie just came out of the pits next to each other, both on different laps, but which is interesting because they were both very close to each other on track, although Sarah has come out just ahead of Iceman, so that might be something to watch. Iceman on mediums, Sarah on new soft, so we'll have to see
Dark
if
Lord
there's
and Giles. Sorry to butt in and make contact! That was a point where two cars were fighting for the same line. Arguably, I don't think Giles should have been defending that hard, and now he's got left front damage again.
Well, I mean, we've seen Dark Lord make that move before, and we said it was a risky one. And I did say earlier in the race that, you know, doing this aggressive strategy does lead to a lot more action on track with other drivers, and that does provide a bigger risk of having a crash. Now, he didn't get damaged. Giles unfortunately did, but, I mean, you know, it could have easily been damage for Dark Lord and ruined the rest of his race for him. So, yeah, I mean, that's just the cards that you play when you do one of these aggressive, soft strategies.
Yeah, Dark Lord obviously got the better end of that one. Sophia, oh, this is gonna make things worse. She's picked up 1.5 again for the back chicane. So this is really gonna open the door to make something happen. If not now. Because
Charlie also hit the wall. He didn't get damaged, but he hit the wall, which Kai's in the pit.
Oh, so he's going to do the last 3 laps on a set of softs, so this is getting really interesting here.
Well, he's going to lose. He's going to lose track position. This is what I'm confused about.
Yeah, he's going to lose first. He's going to lose second. Oh, hold on. He's coming out of the pit lane now. Where is he going to come out? Behind Charlie.
Oh.
Ahead of Sophia.
This just got very interesting very quickly.
I tell you what, this has been quite the chaotic race. I wasn't expecting.
So Charlie was absolutely exemplary in first position in the sprint race. Will he be able to hold off? Although Kai has very good tires, and you can see he's already gaining a rate of knots heading into this right-hand hairpin.
He's trying. Charlie holds on for now. Kai's flashing the hats. I don't think he appreciated that too much.
Small bit of contact into that hairpin, yeah, and definitely not appreciating the little bump that he got around the outside. And Sophia's still on the tail of this battle, even with that damage. She is going to be here, and so I mean, she's ready to capitalize on any mistakes that happen between this top two.
Did you have a 3-car battle for the win on your bingo card today, Mac? Because I
don't think so. I don't know what I had on my bingo card. I'd say on my bingo card I had maybe a nice cam race.
Nighthawk? No. It's never boring around here. As we see Charlie doing his damnedest to hold off the 181 GR. He takes a wide entry. That should get him a better exit, though. But Kai's made the move, and the GTR is back out in front with 2 to go.
Yeah, I don't know with those worn tires. I don't think that wide entry was the move. I mean, Kai is going to have good grip no matter where he is on the track right now, whether it's the top or the bottom groove in the last corner. So, I mean, that was kind of a strange line from Charlie, but maybe he's just accepting that he can't hold off the GTR. That is too much speed in that car. Maybe he's hoping, Kai's a bit of the grass and he's sideways.
It ain't over till it's over. We've got a little less than 2 laps. Charlie, I think, has just been trying to find anywhere possible to get any more momentum on exit on that GTR. But yeah, those softs really doing work here on that GTR.
So Charlie's hoping Kai gets a penalty at some point or something to let him catch him.
And he does! 1.5! 1.5 for the A1 as he sets a purple sector. This is absolutely Charlie now, all he has to do right now, don't put it in the fence, man. Just keep it tidy, and you'll be battling Kayak. Oh my days! This is absolutely insane!
That may be the worst dose of commentator's curse I've ever seen in my life, because, I mean, I literally just said he's hoping for him to get a penalty, and there he goes. And
I'm looking at the fuel gauge for Charlie. It's not looking great. He might be fuel saving.
Is Charlie close enough in the first place to capitalize on this penalty? He looks too far behind.
I've noticed when everyone serves their penalties, this is one of the most rough penalty zones in Gran Turismo and on the Nighthawk schedule. It's such a big speed differential. There goes the M6 to the outside with go.
This is absolutely crazy. It's gonna be
he's not cleared him though. He's not cleared him their side.
Charlie down the inside into the chicane. He's going to be on the inside, but Kai's going to have the inside for the left-hander, and Kai gets back ahead, but Charlie is going to be trying everything to get back ahead of this GTR.
He's going to try the outside, probably across. He's not close enough, though. And boy, oh boy, what a race this has been.
Yeah, and just to mention as well, Sophia dropping back from that battle because of very bad front left tire wear, barely able to hold on to that car out of some of those corners, and unfortunately not able to capitalize on that whole fiasco that happened there with Charlie and Kai. Kai not getting a 1.5 second penalty in the chicane that time, so I think he might be safe. He just needs to keep it through the S's and through the last corner, and he should have this in the bag. Charlie is just about holding on with that low fuel and those worn tires.
And that's the problem. You got to keep it clean through the S's, which we've seen him get caught out here a little bit ago, and why this battle is happening in the first place. He does keep it clean, goes through the final carousel. Charlie, oh man, he's desperately trying something, but it's not going to work. After 39 grueling laps, the 181 of Kai wins the feature race ahead of Charlie by most. So Sophia will come home third. Great race for her, all things considered. Midnight will come home fourth ahead of Fada. Great result for those two. And Dark Lord, on once again a very worn set of softs, will come home sixth. Mac, take it away from here.
Yeah, Fada got very close to Midnight there on that final lap, so surprised that he didn't catch up. You just need one more lap.
Hang on a minute.
Dark Lord's been a bit of a
Dark Lord. Now's not the time for showboat. No, nor sitting perpendicular to the. Oh, come on, man.
Dark Lord's pulling a Kyle Busch across the line, and he's just deciding I'm going to reverse it around the track. Burke comes home seventh, just about nearly overtook Dark Lord if he took any longer reversing on the track. Giles comes home in 8th position. Mercedes in 9th. We didn't see Mercedes a lot this race. He was kind of leading his own race after having a bit of contact with some of the drivers earlier on, but still a good finish overall for him. Sophie's going to come home in 10th, just coming up to the line now. And we've got a few drivers here in a little pack on different laps, actually. Nigel in 11th, who's currently catching up to Sarah, who's on a different lap. So Sarah's going to cross the line in front of Nigel, but Nigel's going to be the one that finishes ahead in 11th position. Sarah in 12th, and Iceman just trailing the pack. You can see him coming around the last corner now in 13th, and that rounds off the finishing positions for this race, the feature race here at Kyoto Driving Park and the Yamigiwa layout, or the reverse one. And I mean, I have to say, that was a thrilling race.
Absolutely. Absolute intrigue, top to bottom. You really couldn't get a grasp of where everyone was going to be, especially after the top two of Sophia and Kai wrecked midway through their second and third stints, respectively. It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah, I have to say, that last, I did not expect Kai to come into the pits. I was absolutely flabbergasted to see him pulling into the pit lane on those final laps, and what a show that was. Thank you, Kai, for coming and making a pit stop, because that definitely shook up the end of that race. But yeah, absolute exemplary performance from some of the drivers out there throughout the sprint and the feature race, and I have to give it to them because it was a very good show.
Yeah, absolutely. That was unbelievable. Yeah, whatever you were expecting for this race, expectations were thrown out the window, crashed onto a car sitting below, and then set on fire. This was one of the best races I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, every time I come to do one of these commentaries, it seems to be a more exciting race every single time. So I have to give it to everybody out there, the drivers. It was very good performances out there on the track today. Now, certainly, it's my first time commentating with you, and it was a very nice commentary session, and it was great to watch some of the racing with you. But usually I'm the one that's asked this, but I'm going to ask you this time. Who do you think is your driver of the day for these two races?
Honestly, I think I gotta give it to Charlie. He had a brilliant sprint where he stayed out on one set of tires to win that. He came home just shy of the win here after taking full advantage of the melee and misery of Kai and Sophia. And he kept it clean pretty much the entire race. I think it's a no-brainer to give it to him.
I think I need to be fired because I think every single time I'm answering that question, I never actually have an answer for it. So that is a very good choice, and I think I'll agree with you. Although I do want to give an honorable mention to Kai as well. Kai had a very nice performance out there. We saw some good battles in the sprint with him, and a very nice end to that feature race. And also, I want to say as well, another driver was also my brain has stopped working. Sophia did a very good performance out there as well. And yeah, very good performance from the AMG driver. We saw her battling with Kai throughout the race, and it was just unfortunate with that damage there and that collision, but it was a fairly solid weekend performance from her as well.
Yeah, I also have to give a shout out to Dark Lord trying the unconventional strategy of Road Atlanta, go softs all the way, stay for one stint on the hards. Fortunately, didn't quite work out the way he wanted it to. He finished 6th, but all in all, he showed great pace in that McLaren.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, the shenanigans at the end with the reversing with Dark Lord, I'm sure that is going to be looked at, because I think the last time we had someone stopping on the grid, they got a warning or something, or I'll have to look back on it. But there was a few stewards' decisions, I believe, for that feature race. So I'm sure we'll get them in.
The stewards have made their decision. The number 6, Dark Lord, has been given a 2-second penalty for a collision with Giles. Not the one I was thinking they were going to penalize him for, but on lap 9 there was contact with him, with the two of them, and the stewards have given him a couple seconds time added for that. Will not affect where he finishes, so he still finishes 6th. Though his wallet has also gotten lighter for his shenanigans before the finish line. They fined him £10,000, so that'll go to the NHR Driver Welfare Fund. Of course, I don't think he'll be too happy that he'll be the one giving $10,000 to that welfare fund. But all in all, pretty clean race on the stewarding front.
I'm sure Dark Lord's gonna be listening to this and be like, "What the hell?" I mean, how do you think we run these races, guys? I mean, they're not doing this for free, like,
Hey, we run these races with the purses the game gives us, so we run the cars that way.
Yeah, no, interesting to see as well. It seems that Sophie and Giles' shenanigans as well. We saw they had a bit of contact. Seems like both drivers kind of, I'd say they evened it out over the race. There wasn't any real net advantage gained by either of them by the contact. It was more just a bit of blows traded. But overall relatively clean racing. Of course, we did see a few spins, but most of the spins were like people crashing with themselves. It wasn't people crashing into other people. So I mean, that's always good to see. Nice clean racing from all the drivers, and overall very entertaining.
And can't wait for the next race. Tell me, Mac, where are we going next race? Actually, don't tell me that, because I figured it out myself.
I'm going to tell you anyways. Next race. Can you believe it, right? Have a wild guess. Next race, we're going to Tokyo Expressway.
An absolute showdown under the lights. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and it's
quite narrow confines. Quite narrow confines around Tokyo.
Well, they call it clockwise layout, or that's what it was called in GT Sport, and then in Gran Turismo 7 they decided to start calling them all sorts of things like Southern Inner and South Outer and all this crap, and that's too confusing. So And we just call it the clockwise layout. That's a bit easier for everybody.
that's
Because
the
I
one
can't
with
like they'd be talking about like east, west, and north, and I'd be getting very confused. So,
And that's the one
we'll
with-
keep it as clockwise.
And that's the one with the last chicane in the back half of the very back half of the track, and it's claimed drivers in various leagues and World Series races. So
Yeah.
you got to be careful with that one. It's a little bit of a death chicane light, that one.
Yeah, I mean, if Death Chicane is known for its walls, this is known for its curbs. The curbs are like, I'd say maybe like half the height of a tire. They are very, very big, and there's a very high chance of, if you hit it in the wrong way, your car kind of goes all up in the air and stuff. I know the Ferrari and Lamborghini are very, very bad on those curbs, and it is not fun at all. But I'm sure we'll see in the next race how that goes for the drivers. I'm sure they will take the challenge with very high, with heads high, and I'm sure they'll do very well.
All right, well, that'll do it for us here in the booth. I thank you, Mac, for joining me up here. It was a great race, a great day here at Kyoto. We're going to take it down to the press room for what each of the drivers have had to say. But for now, it is thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the next race.
See you later.
I mean, we started P8, so we didn't expect a lot from the sprint, so we did just do what we could do with the practice we have done. And I mean, we went from P8 to P5 in the first lap, so the race started off pretty well. We had to avoid some carnage like the crash between Ziggy and Cypher, which gave us the perfect opportunity to grab the lead, and with the consistent lap times, we brought the win home with, in my opinion, a good gap between us and Chaos. All by all, I think we can be very happy with our first ever sprint win for sure after all we went trough the past few races. Couldn't have done it without my team and all the mental support I got from some people, so let's keep going.
slow. Turbo speed was still the show. Nighthawk racing, feel the burn around each turn. Victories earned, passing rivals, nothing assumed. On the track we are consumed. Adrenaline rush, heartbeats race. The thrill of speed taking place. Defend the lead, it's not a chase. Gran Turismo sets a pace. Under moonlit skies we soar. Every pass makes spirits roar. Defending honor, never bored. Speeding kings on asphalt floors. Through the stadiums we fly by. Cheering crowds lighting the sky.